Hello everyone, assalamu alaikum. I hope everyone is doing great. I hope everyone is doing well. It's my first stream since coming back from Zimbabwe end of this month. It's so lovely to see you all. Hello Chenandis, Waiter Claude says, so nice to see all of you guys. And yeah, Chenandis beat you on the redeeming the first, but isn't there also a second and third? Or am I remembering wrong? I thought I added that. I'm not sure. In any case, I hope everyone is doing great, is doing well, etc. Let us do some stuff. I'm not sure about where to start, TBH. I feel very ADHD, but I'm sure that's fine. Good luck with you guys either ending work or preparing for work. I hope you'll be alright. I hope that you get paid decently. You're most likely not, because we live under capitalism and you know the deal. But yeah. 35 days. Damn, nice Fernandez. Thank you. That's awesome. My strongest, my greatest warriors. My greatest shemlings. Right. I'm actually not really sure where to start. So there's like a bunch of things that happened while I was away. One of the things which I thought was like, it's like a crazy coincidence for me, because like first time I'm like properly in Africa, not counting like in between flights in Cairo International Airport, which sucks by the way. Yeah, I went to Zimbabwe. You didn't know? Hello, Crescent Minister. I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but yeah, first time I'm going to Africa and in Zimbabwe, which isn't is I'm pretty sure isn't like the first, like it is not one of the most popular tourist destinations in Africa, at least for like, I mean, I think for most different peoples, but as part of like an youth exchange leadership thingy, I went there, and we went to Vic Falls, which, you know, I was there. That's where I was for like the almost 2 weeks I was there. I came back like a few days ago, and it was quite an experience. For those of you who don't know, I am brown, but not brown enough to, you know, to have to truly like not brown enough to underestimate the power of the sun. Apparently the sun down there is much stronger, so that has caused me to like, and because I'm a stupid, arrogant, stubborn man, I didn't wear sunscreen for any of the time I was there. I wasn't out in the sun that much, but there was a few days where I was out in the sun for like quite a few hours. And yeah, so the first telltale sign of me like I should have put on sunscreen is that my, you know, my forearms, my nose became quite red, especially my nose, and then my nose began peeling a little bit, but that's fine now. However, now my arms are peeling, and it looks fairly like gruesome, at least up close, but I don't think it's something you'd notice that much from far away, and it's like, it's not even noticeable. If I put some water on it, then you can't tell at all. So yeah, if you're a brown guy like me, admittedly I'm fairly light-skinned for a brown guy, put on sunscreen. Even if it doesn't make your skin fucking peel, it'll help you, you know, not get cancer. Hopefully I've not gotten that, inshallah. Inshallah. Speaking of, I celebrated Eid down there. I found a masjid down there, like a tiny little, a very small community of Muslims, but they were very kind, and they served biryani for the Eid, like post Eid prayer dinner, like meal that they had together. It was really, really nice. The sisters in the community, they made it, and wow, it's so welcoming, so nice. Like, didn't charge anything, as you know, sort of expected, but still it's so like warm and welcoming. And this is just like, and this is not, you know, unique to the small Muslim community down there. Like other people, like the Zimbabweans down there, were super nice, especially the ones whom we interacted with as part of the exchange program that me and a comrade of mine, we participated in for our organization. I'm still coughing, and my cough went on while I was down there, which is annoying as shit, and I can feel it. It's still here, especially when I speak a lot, so occasionally I'll be muting myself still to, you know, not cough into the mic. Right. But yeah, the people down were super nice. We were like at a resort hotel type of thing during the program, but we had the option to stay there for longer. They'd like book later tickets for us, and I chose that, so I was there for like, I think 3 days more, and for that duration I stayed at like one of the friends I'd met down there. I stayed at his house, like in the ghetto, as they call it, which is basically like the lower income area of Victoria, of Vic Falls, which, by the way, was a much like a smaller city slash like a populated area than I expected, because I had assumed it would be like, oh, it's a small city, so it'd be like what, 100, maybe 200,000 people. No, it's like, I think it's like 35,000 people or something in Victoria Falls, which isn't that many. Also, I should turn down the bloody music. Also, I think I completely ADHD'd out of my original point, which was that first time me going to Africa properly was Zimbabwe, and that coincided with like I think 2 or 3 days before I went back home, the UN had a vote, and I'm gonna just give me a second. I'm gonna do some tech magic and switch over to another screen. which is called gaming for some reason. Don't ask me why that is. All right, do that. Oh. Okay, I need something at the top of my screen to like fill that out. I'll figure something out eventually. This stream is gonna be this stream is gonna be a tiny bit more chaotic than usual, I think, because I just came back. I'm finding my feet again. Lots of things I also have to do, and I'll do those during and after the stream as well. Just other administrative stuff. I also need to seek some reimbursement for like some of the expenses I had for like going down there, like vaccines and stuff. Alright, give me just a moment, and transition should be good. There we go. Excellent. Alright, no more music. So yeah, lots of things happened. Hassan was in Cuba, which I think is very cool. I don't know if they've released much of that yet. Shit, there's so many things that happened in the time I was gone. I need to get like a good like little notes app or whatever of things, and just like go through things we need to go through. Actually, I think someone recommended me a good, what do you call it, program thingy for like when I am not here. What? I don't know what I was saying. Someone recommended me a good notes program, or like drawing program. I think I'm gonna use that to like just like draw something on screen. Maybe like go through some of the thingies we went through. Okay, what is this? Did I not use this? I guess I haven't. Okay, so we're gonna have a look at a few things. We're gonna have a look at like the UN vote, and I got distracted again. So first time I was probably in Africa, and the UN had a vote on like recognizing the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity. And I thought, and you know, that passed, and it's very interesting to see which countries voted against it and which countries abstained from that. Hello, LHS, love to see you. Thanks for being here. I think it'd be very fun to have a look at like what the arguments are behind that. So I think we're gonna have a look at that. Maybe I should update the title. Decolonize. Yeah, exactly. Like nearly every European country, nearly every European country that's not like aligned. Nearly every European country that's aligned with the West, like voted, like abstained from like the vote, which I think is like pretty telling, especially because okay, I'm not gonna. Sorry, it's just very, very wild to see because like pretty much the entire global south voted for this thing, including like non-African countries like China and India and Bangladesh, which also have been subjected to horrific crimes by the imperialists, the colonialists, etc. So I think like for Europeans, like the argument of like I believe like most of the European states, at least I saw Germany, were like we shouldn't, and a lot of wankers online are like, we shouldn't compare tragedies, which is like, fuck off. Yeah, we can, sure, it's not healthy to compare tragedies in such a way, but this is not just that, especially because other countries which weren't directly affected by this also voted for this like recognition. And we'll have a look at like what the effects of that are like in like on paper and reality and all that stuff. What was I looking for? I was looking for something and I forgot what it was. Oh, there we go, found it. Just a moment. So we'll do like a thingy where I think I'll just draw on the screen which things I want us to go through during the stream, and then we'll see how good I am at doing that. That'll be fun to find out. So actually, if you just like look, UN vote. Actually, if you just write UN vote, maybe it'll show up. There we go. DW News. I don't like DW. I think it's the Welt. Is that what they called? I don't quite recall. DW. What's that called? DW. Isn't it developed? Reject. Okay, could you guys like tell me what your actual name is? No, okay, sorry. It's the Deutsche Welle, not the Welt. The Welt is something else. I think the Welt is like, is that like some ancient shit like from World War One? Maybe I'm just being very, very, very ADHD. Very confused. Whatever. Anyways, sorry, let me just install this program to draw stuff because I don't really want to use Paint because Paint kind of sucks. I'm not the end of the world, but it's not great. I'm also curious about like seeing like how like other streamers, my peers, and you know those who are like not really my peers, but in I guess like I'm curious to see how other leftist streamers react to this as well as like other just leftists online, other leftist content creators. Yeah, there you go. That's the words I was looking for. So maybe we'll see if LHS has a LHS. Do you have a VOD? Do you have the VOD up for like when you discuss this on stream? Because I'd love to have a look at that. And then I'll also see like check what Little Bear said, since you know Little Bear is like LHS like has been in Africa a bunch of times. She's worked with charities and stuff like that over there, and LP, who is white but like lives and was born and raised in South Africa, and also check out like others that I know. Actually, unfortunately I don't think I know of any like big African leftist content creators, but I'm sure I'll find out. Oh, sorry, LHS, I asked if you have a VOD where you talked about this vote, because if so, I will check it out, probably here on stream. Okay, where's this thingy I downloaded to? Oh, what is that? That looks odd. Okay, just a second, guys. Don't worry, just leftist technician stuff. Leftist, what do you call it? Tech support. That's about no. It's a UNH Caesar resolution model, which is binary state, so I think it's more of a vibes check. Ah, okay, fair enough. No worries. I'll check if LB. Actually, we'll just like hop in real quick to LB's stream and ask her directly. Hopefully, we're not disturbing her. Hopefully, I won't get in trouble for this music playing.
Okay.
LB, do you? Where you talk about the UN recognizing the transatlantic slave trade as the greatest crime against humanity.
So this is 2021.
I shock horror, the vibes are racist law.
August.
Yeah, the vibes are very, very, very racist. Like, looking at like any comments on the videos like covering this was like insane.
No, I haven't talked about that. I like talking about UN shit is just so useless, Shaman. Like, it's just like.
I mean, probably, but I still think.
Like,
okay.
It doesn't.
Fair.
Like, it is so giving. It is so It is so indicative of what the institution stands for when people can't vote. Oh yeah, no, slavery is bad. Like.
Alright, she's not discussed it. Alright. That's alright. Transatlantic. Condemning transatlantic slave.
Okay.
I'm bad spelling. Slave trade.
Influential people in politics in America right now, by the way. Like, unironically. It's not even like something you can deny at this point.
I'm 100% certain they banked. What are you
banked.
talking about,
Please
LHS?
never make a comment like that ever.
LHS.
I know that you're joking, but like just
That's
like,
so
really
funny.
Not something I allow. It's not.
LHS is in trouble.
You know?
I don't even know what it was for, but it doesn't matter. Okay, right. That's amusing. Let's see. France 24 English. I feel like that's gonna be cursed. See, 14 minutes. That's very long. Give me just a moment. What did you even say that to? LHS? I'm so curious. It's so funny. Okay. Did this bloody thing open? Yes, it did, sort of. But it's not looking as nice as I would like. And it's like, okay, new image. What the shit? Give me like an A4. Okay, can I like shit. It's a little bit annoying. Okay, there we go. Can I now click the game capture thingy and make capture this? Oh, there we go. It works, I think. Can I have it like be above? Okay, there we go. So, this is probably not the optimal program. I should probably just use a notes-taking app or whatever. Okay, let's have a look at some of the things we're going to, like, I guess, cover. So, Zimbabwe, UN vote. Okay, I'll just write that because writing everything out would be very annoying, and I don't want to cut it off because that would look weird. Okay, so we have Zimbabwe, UN vote, Cuba, flotilla, yeah, just Cuba, Iran, war. Oh yeah, and you know, so Israel also passed a law like a couple days ago, I think, where they made it so that it's legal to, like, they made it so that they can execute Palestinian prisoners of war. They can execute them, and like this is something specifically only for Palestinians. Like they made a segregated like a capital punishment law that they passed. Insanely genocidal, insanely fucked up. I've seen people say that this is not something that's been done in any country since like fucking Nazi Germany. I'm not entirely sure if that is true, but I mean, I would not be surprised if it was. Because I mean, even if other countries, you know, do that, in reality, most of them are not, I guess, brazen enough to put it into law and display it for the rest of the world. The EU has been like, oh, this might put into jeopardy some of our deals with Israel, which is like insanely fucking shitty, cowardly, like too weak of a response. It should be a whole fucking condemnation and a threat, and you know, a threat to, you know, sanction them. But nothing of that sort has happened. Okay, Israel execution law. I should have made this paper longer. Can I do that? Can I make this paper like longer? Also, I need to just make this a little bit smaller. HRW Israel discriminatory death penalty bill passes. Thank you. Way too cold. Can I copy the link easily? I just put it up here. Yes, I can. Nice. Awesome. Thank you for the link. By Human Rights Watch. They're pretty good, even if they're very Western, like they're a little bit liberal, but they still do a lot of great work, I think. All right, Zimbabwe, UN vote Cuba. Something else. Maybe elephant. Elephant. And what that means, I suppose you'll find out. It depends on whether or not I have properly censored the video. Okay. Right, so let us put this one back up. There we go. And right. So first we will cover Zimbabwe. Can I like make this like more small or just something? Like, sorry, I'm scrambling a little bit. I'm being a little bit confused. Okay. There you go. That's good enough. That's that's so dumb. Show canvas only. Oh, what? That's not what I wanted to do. What just happened? I clicked something. I'm confused, guys. Help. I clicked show canvas only, and now it's not. Can I reverse that? Hello? Please? Oh, there we go. Okay, nice. Detach canvas. Okay, nice. That looks a little bit better. Okay, there we go. There we go. That's better, I think. Except it. Look at this. I guess we'll just have to live with this empty space. Nice. So, so Zimbabwe, yeah, that was cool. It's a very cool place. People are very kind. Very, like when I was down there, like something I was like constantly thinking about is like comparing it to Bangladesh, because you know I'm from Bangladesh and I was there like just 2 months prior, and I was just thinking about, I think 2 months, 1.5 months thereabouts, and I was just thinking about like all the similarities and differences and like that kind of thing, thinking a lot about that, and something like I noticed like it's also a little bit of a difficult comparison to make, because like you know, most of the time I spent in Bangladesh was in Dhaka, you know, one of the largest bloody cities in the world, but I did also spend some time in rural areas, quite rural areas, and it's just very interesting to see like the differences, because like I don't know, it's like, so a big thing in like Vic Falls was that like there's a lot of baboons, and like and apparently like we were warned to not go out at night because elephants do roam the streets at night, and we were told like if we do go out at night we had to go in a taxi for our own safety, which you know makes sense. I also got very close to elephants at like there's a place in Zimbabwe in Vic Falls called the Big Tree. This is on the UN resolution. Thank you, way too cool. That's awesome. The Big Tree, and there's a lot of animals go to that area because it's a little bit further away from the more populated parts of Vic Falls. And then I got like to like 5 minutes away from an elephant, and I'll see if that video is if I'm not doxing anyone in that video, I'll share it. Also real quick, also like a very random thing, like, so I was on TikTok quite a lot yesterday. I also posted like a wee little video, not video, a photo, and while this was just like browsing through TikTok and stuff, I very like insane coincidence, despite, TikTok being quite suspicious about the way it recommends you people that you do know IRL, even though you have opted out from all the, not wanting to share anything about whom you see, whom you know IRL, and any of the other information from your phone. Despite that, they're quite suspicious about whom they recommend to you, in my experience. That being said, this is a friend I haven't really interacted with much, that much. They haven't recommended me them before. And so I just randomly saw that they're also just posting on TikTok, and they started a few days ago, and I thought that was pretty cool to just randomly find them. I was because they followed me, and I was I haven't really advertised my TikTok anywhere. So I wonder how they found me. I thought that in the few seconds, well, because I just got the phone notification after commenting on a post, and then I just opened the profile and saw, oh shit, this is a post I literally just commented on. That's probably how they bloody found me. So that was very cute. I'll just bring their TikTok up. Right, not that. This is another person. Actually, I need to follow her on Twitch, TTV Lano EXE, because they are a leftist and they're Asian, and I love seeing my fellow Asian leftists. So I'll just go follow them real quick. Oh, okay, I don't know what their name is on Twitch. I'll figure that out another time. In any case, we have profile, favorites, not favorite. Is it favorites? Yes. Collections and wait. Okay, actually, I'll just look for them. So this is Gienna. I just randomly got this video on my FYP. Gienna, who's a very cool friend of mine that I met doing one of the commie thingies I've gone to. And then randomly oh wait, what? I commented on it. Wait, what? Iran survived 45 years of Western sanctions, but the West now can't survive a month of Iranian sanctions. I was just okay, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna it. Just America and Europe started this game a long time ago, but now when others do it, then it's somehow wrong. Very cool post by them. I can't see my comment here, which is interesting. I must question them on this. Did they delete my comment? I don't think so, because I can't see why they would do that. But yeah, really cool guy, really cool friend of mine. So you guys should also follow them. They are, I think, Yena is of... Actually, maybe I shouldn't say much about them, because I don't know how much stuff they want to tell about themselves. But they're very cool leftists, very nice dude, very nice person. And also, look at them. They're so hot. That's not important, but I also just... Look at them. They're great. Really, really nice person. Watermelons, hammers, and sickles. Hell yeah. Wait, what is this? Depression, broken, no GF, bad grades, high cortisol. Hating on Israel. I disavow. I definitely don't approve of that message. No comment on that. Anyways. Oh, they actually have a video on this. Israel approves death penalty for Palestinians. Let's have a look at it.
You really can't get more evil than this. Yesterday, Israel legalized the final solution to its Palestinian problem. They can now lawfully
Gonna get some water.
Palestinians. The first country since Nazi Germany to legalize the death penalty for only one ethnicity and not the other. Executions are to be carried out by hanging. The law states that supposedly it would apply to Palestinians convicted of killing Israelis with the purpose of destroying the state of Israel. That would be the so-called terrorists. However, this is nothing but a legal facade to cover for the Israeli bloodthirsty desire to eliminate all Palestinians from its settler colony. Palestinians, unlike Israelis, are illegally and unjustly tried in criminal, not civilian courts, where the conviction rate is 99.6%.
Yep.
Because of Israel's secrecy, it is estimated that thousands of Palestinians are convicted every single year.
This includes children, by the way. Some of the hostages that Israel is taking from Palestine are like literally children who've been there like for like I think like decades in some instances, maybe even many instances. Like insanely cruel shit. Like let's like imagine like a 12-year-old kid or whatever. Like they throw a rock at like a fucking Merkava tank or the like. All right, they are kidnapped, convicted, and tried at their military court, which obviously is not very fair at all. Like, you know, sham trial, and then they're in jail for like years and years and years, and they won't see their family for the rest of their childhood.
This means now that all of them could be falsely tried as terrorists in an effort to legally kill as many Palestinians as possible. The Israeli society is truly despicable. This is not just the government. Almost every single Jewish Israeli wants this to happen.
Real quick, Jewish Israeli is a distinction that the Israeli government themselves make. They have Jewish Israelis, or you're an Arab Israeli or something like that.
And this is Europe's second...
Even if you're not Arab or something.
...greatest ally, by the way. Where is Kaya Kallas crying about human rights abuses? Where is von der Leyen condemning this abhorrent behavior? Absolutely pathetic.
Yep. And the same people, like he mentioned Kaya Kallas and Ursula von der Leyen, who are like top EU officials, instead what they spend their time on is condemning Iran for defending themselves against illegal strikes on them by the US from surrounding US allies because they have bases there. Anyways, great video, also great screen cap. I'm just gonna screen cap this real quick and send it to them because I think that'll be funny as fuck. I am such a fun person. Anyways, UN passes. Wait, what do we want to cover first? UN vote. Okay, we did jump the gun a little bit, but that's fine. That's just how we are. So UN passes a resolution naming slave trade grave crime against humanity. Resolution of transatlantic slavery supported by 123 countries, while 3 opposed it, including the US and Israel. By Reuters and the Associated Press, a United Nations resolution proposed by Ghana to recognize transatlantic slavery as the gravest crime against humanity and calling for reparations has been adopted despite pushback from Europe and the United States, the ones who have benefited the most from the transatlantic slave trade, and still don't really teach enough at all about like the severe crimes committed as part of the transatlantic slave trade and chattel slavery. Like insanely fucked up shit that, you know, that most people don't know. Like I didn't know, like, and I've been a leftist for years, and I didn't know, like, understand how depraved this shit was until like fairly recently. Like in fact, it's like somewhat similar to my it was kind of like when I watched the Freda video on like the Crusades and learned about, oh, the Crusades literally fucking ate some of the Muslims that they invaded, like some of the fucking people they invaded there. Like it's that level of like insane depravity. At a UN General Assembly, UNGA vote on Wednesday, 123 countries supported the resolution, which is not legally binding but carries political weight, while 3 opposed it, including the US and Israel, and also Argentina. And 52 abstained, including the United Kingdom and the European countries. There's also some history about Argentina. Argentina has like pretty much committed a silent genocide. Is what the video I saw called it. Have you seen Freda's pod with Yuga and Mike? Yeah, I saw it. It's like very, very cool. I saw the episode with Hassan. I need to watch the first episode at some point. I don't know if you'd be okay with me watching it on stream. So I'm not sure if I want to do that. Purely because, I respect Freda greatly and all these other, and Hugo and Mike and so forth. Other leftist content creators, so. But maybe I should just, like, shoot a DM and ask if that's okay. But, totally fine if not. Anyways, 3 countries opposed it, US, Israel, and Argentina. I don't know why they didn't just write that, there's space for it. And 52 abstained, include the UK and EU countries. Ghana said the resolution was needed because the consequences of slavery, as a link to that, remember Matilda, the last survivor of the transatlantic slave trade, Maybe we'll read that, we'll see. Which saw at least 12.5 million Africans abducted and sold between 15th and 19th centuries, persists today, including racial disparities. Yep, I would also say, like, if they haven't, like, explored this already, I need to read about this, but I'm like 90% certain, probably more, that, actually no, just the consequence of chattel slavery and the transatlantic slave trade affected, I'm pretty sure, all the areas, like the entire global south, more or less, or at least a majority of it. Because, like, when you set up your society in a way where these kind of things are acceptable, you also, like the cruelty you foment and normalize also extend to other parts of your empire or whatever. A lot of the fucked up things they've done, like, are connected to the horrible, like, the colonialist shits they did with the transatlantic slave trade, affected all parts of colonialism, one way or another. Ghana's President John Dramani Mahama, a key architect of this resolution, said the resolution's passing was a route to healing and reparative justice. The adoption of this resolution serves as a safeguard against forgetting. Let it be recorded that when history beckoned, we did what was right for the memory of the millions who suffered the indignity of slavery. Ghana's Foreign Minister, Samuel Ablakwa, said the resolution called for accountability and could pave the way for a reparative framework. History does not disappear when ignored, truth does not weaken when delayed, crime does not rot, and justice does not expire with time, Ablakwa said. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres told the UNGA that far bolder action was required from more states to confront historical injustice. True. The Netherlands remains the only European country to have issued a formal apology for its role in slavery, which is not enough at all, but, like, it's a little bit telling that this is, like, the most that any European country has done for, like, what they've done to slavery. I believe that Haiti, like, since the Haitian Revolution, is still paying reparations to France, or they did so for a long time. Let's check. Haitian reparations to France. Yeah, the bar is super low. Haitian independence debt involves an 1825 agreement between Haiti and France that included France demanding an indemnity of 150 million francs and 5 annual payments of 30 million to be paid by Haitian claims over property, including Haitian slaves that was lost through the Haitian Revolution in return for diplomatic recognition. Haiti forced to take a loan for the first 30 million, and in 1838 France agreed to reduce the remaining debt to 60 million to be paid over 30 years, with the final payment paid in 1883. However, according to a 2022 New York Times analysis, because of other loans taken to pay off this loan, the final payment to debtors was actually made in 1947. They approximated that 112 million francs was actually paid in indemnity, which is equivalent to $560 million in 2022 after adjusting for inflation. Let's just check. What's the GDP of Haiti? The total is $38 billion. And I am pretty sure it was I assume that was much lower before. So yeah, a big chunk of that was paid through reparations ever since the inception of their independence. It's a little bit fucked up. In 1922, the rest of the Haiti's debt was moved to be paid to American investors. Nice. So yeah, love this stuff. This is like how Europe has dealt. This is a good example of how Europe has dealt with, like, the consequences of the awful shit they've done to the rest of the world, especially the global south. The resolution has come after the African Union last year set out to create a unified version among its 55 member states about what reparations for slavery may look like. It urges member states to engage in dialogue on reparations, including issuing formal apologies, returning stolen artifacts, providing financial compensation, and ensuring guarantees of non-repetition. Despite long-standing calls for reparations, there's also growing backlash. Several Western leaders have opposed even discussing the subject, with critics arguing that states and institutions should not be held responsible for historical wrongs, which is utterly bullshit. Reparations is justice, and, you know, you can just take this money from the gigantic corporations that you're sheltering. But no, instead, like, I'm sure there's, like, they do, like, propaganda and shit that's like, oh, paying reparations will cost a lot for the average person, which, I mean, I don't really think Like, I don't think most people think that makes sense. I think most people would be quite happy with, if corporations just paid reparations for the awful shit they did. No, that and the governments. And the governments can get that money from the giant corporations in their country, but they will not do that because that would hurt the capital owners. Anyways, both the EU and the US voiced concerns the resolution could imply a hierarchy among crimes against humanity, treating some as more serious than others. This is very ironic, especially considering that the West has used their Holocaust, their genocide of Jewish people, to bash others for, like, ever since. Like, the Western countries have treated Jews awfully for centuries, which then culminated in the Shoah, with 6 million Jews murdered horrifically. And and despite them being the reason for it, they push the guilt of this supposed guilt of this that they have onto others. And they actually, a lot of the way this like often manifests is that they then go, yeah, actually, Muslims are kind of like Nazis because they hate Jewish people, and this is awful. They hate Jewish people. It's not us. While protecting, and they often say that in defense of Israel, which is not representative of all Jewish people, and implying so is anti-Semitic. It's fucked up. Right. So yeah, that's fun. Let's have a look at there should be a map which shows like the vote. Let's have a vote map look at that. Let's see. Guardian. Do they have a map? No. Countries voted for what? UN News. Do they have a thing for it? Okay, when I saw this pop up on TikTok, I saw a lot of really nice graphics which precisely showed which countries voted for, against, and abstained from this vote map. Oh, there we go. I don't like using Reddit, but oh, deleted by the person who originally posted it. You what? Why is it still the top result? That's annoying as hell. Is this it? Here's why every country stands on humanitarian insurance. Transatlantic UN vote. Transatlantic slave trade. Grave crime against humanity vote map. I keep misspelling Atlantic. Okay, maybe it's because I'm using this thingy start page, which is very annoying. In fact, if you probably search this on TikTok, let's see. UN vote transatlantic slave trade. I should probably put on some sort of background music, but I'm not very good at that kind of stuff.
The United Nations just called the transatlantic slave trade the gravest crime against humanity, and is now pushing for reparations. The resolution passed with 123 countries in favor. Notably, 3 countries, including the US, Israel, and Argentina, voted against, while 52 countries abstained. Ghana spearheaded the resolution, which is not legally binding, calling it a step toward healing and reparative justice. So why does this matter? Let's look at the history. In ancient and medieval times, slavery was common in many different empires. During the 5th and 4th centuries BC, there were between 60 and 80,000 slaves in Athens alone.
Okay, let's see what they mean by
it is estimated that
where they go with this,
20% of
because I'm curious.
Were slaves. From the 7th and into the 20th century, various societies and countries of the Arab world also held slaves, many people from Eastern Africa and Eastern Europe. During the transatlantic slave trade between the Africa and slaves, many people from Eastern African countries of the Arab world also held slaves. Many people.
I feel like this is like worded in a way which makes it seem so as if these countries held slaves like only these countries did, and not like other countries. Like Europe did not have slaves at this point.
Eastern Africa and
as if serfdom is not a type of slavery.
During the transatlantic slave trade between the 16th and 19th century, an estimated 12.5 million African men, women, and children were captured and taken to South and North America. In this drawing from 1859 showing the decks of a slave ship, you can see the inhumane conditions used to forcibly transport these people from their homelands. In 1948, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted by the UN, prohibiting slavery among member nations. Enslaved more than
Okay, are you not gonna show the thing of which countries have voted? That's so annoying. Okay.
Today, we gather draft resolution reshaped the more
historical accurate
I don't wanna hear
to the
what the. I'm not. That's all I'm looking. I'm not looking for what the US, what bullshit the US said.
abstention/L.
Oh, there we go. So a little bit scuffed, but here we have the vote. If you guys know a better way for me to find this vote, that'd be sick. Actually, maybe the UN has something. Nope, they don't.
Today,
And I need to find it again. There we go. Okay. Oh.
is lock.
As you can see here, Argentina, Israel, and the US were the only countries which voted against this. And as you can see as well, it's a little bit difficult to see, but all the, like Albania, Andorra, Armenia, Australia, Austria, Belgium, Bosnia Herzegovina, Bulgaria, Cambodia. Cambodia, I think, was like one of the only countries in Asia which voted, like, which abstained. Let me look for a bigger pic. Yes, that would be nice, thank you. Let's try again if we can find it. Is this one? Oh, there we go. I found it. Yay. Okay. Do they also have a nice map? No, they don't. But at least we can see this a little bit more clearly here. So, Albania, Andorra, Armenia, Australia, Austria, Belgium, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Bulgaria, Cambodia, Fiji, Estonia, Denmark, Czechia, Cyprus, Croatia, Canada, Finland, France, Georgia, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Ireland. Ireland, okay. That's sad. Italy, Japan, Montenegro, Monaco, Malta, Luxembourg, Lithuania, Liechtenstein, Latvia. Of course, Lithuania, Latvia, of course. Netherlands, New Zealand, North Macedonia, Norway, Oman, Palau, Paraguay, Poland, Portugal, Republic of Moldova, I think? Maybe? Romania, San Marino, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, also disappointing, Sweden, Switzerland, Ukraine, and the UK. All of these countries, nearly all of them, are either, yeah, Bangladesh, all of these countries are either European or, you know, Western aligned, slash, in some cases, like, because they're in some way, shape, or form, like, very heavily relies on the West, I believe, through loads and, like, just economic control. All of these countries abstained, and from what I can understand, the general justification for that is that, oh, blah blah blah, we shouldn't create a hierarchy of crimes or whatever the fuck, a hierarchy of tragedy or some bullshit like that. Although we literally do have that in terms of, you know, laws and like different lengths for crimes and punishment and all that kind of shit. We already have that. Also, Oman is here for some reason. I don't know what's up with that. I really don't know what's up with that. Maybe I think it's because Oman generally tries to be like super neutral on stuff. That might be why, I'm not sure. So they don't like to like pick a side in any case. In any case, as you can see, most of the countries voted for this, including like Arab countries, Asian countries, and I'd really wish I had a map to like display this more like better. Let's see. Vote results. Map. I really like to show a map of like which countries voted for and against and all that. Let's see. Let's try again. Transatlantic slave trade vote map. UN vote map. Will that help me? Come on. Okay. Let's look at that again.
Who taught you to hate
UN vote condemning enslaving Africans and the slave trade. I wish the map was bigger. Do they have a link for the map? Nope, they don't.
the U.S.? Who taught you to hate
Let us zoom in. Can we zoom in?
Who taught the U.S.? Who taught
Okay. That's annoying. Okay, that does not work at all. Thanks, the video is not being zoomed in on at all. Anyways,
you to hate?
as you can see on this map, it's a little bit difficult to see it. And I'm sorry, I can't really improve that. The main countries which abstained were the Western countries and a few outliers. Try this. Thank you. I will have a try at that. This is perfect. Thank you so much. It'd be nice if they hadn't like put this above, but actually it doesn't really block anything, so it's fine. Open image in new tab. Regardless of like, because again, this resolution is non-binding, but from what I can understand, it will help set up framework for like legal frameworks for getting reparations and stuff. Likely won't necessarily lead to that, but it does move at least a little bit the discussion in that direction and does recognize that this is the gravest crime against humanity. As you can see, nearly every African country voted for this. Most South American countries voted for this. Most Central American and Mexico, they voted for this. Nearly all of Asia voted for this. Again, Asia and the Arab countries. And then, okay, you can make the argument, oh, blah, 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 Arab countries, they also engage in slave trade, so they're just deflecting, which is bullshit. From what I can understand, the Arab slave trade was not nearly as brutal as chattel slavery, because chattel slavery was insanely brutal, and just like the looting of the African continent, like the transatlantic slave trade is also, like, it goes hand in hand as well with the colonialism of, like, the colonization of Africa. And the other horrid crimes tied to that, like if you just like only bringing up Congo is like a very good example of like how fucked up the Western countries, like the fucked up shit they've done, right? Is this map slightly wrong? Which country is that? Wait, that is that Hungary? No way, that can't be Hungary. No, yeah, Hungary abstained. Which country is that? I mean, isn't that Hungary or Serbia? Oh, wait, which? I remember there's like one European country which wasn't like aligned with Russia that also voted for this. Serbia. Wait, okay, Serbia voted for it, which is what? Okay, that's surprising. Good on them. Okay, I guess it's Serbia. Is that Kosovo as well? Which was there? I can't tell which country is like right there. I think it's Kosovo. That's like this little dot here. Let me just check. It's very difficult to see. Why does it have Iran, parentheses, Islamic Republic? Why does like some of these countries just have longer names on this? Democratic People's Republic of Korea, Democratic Republic of... Okay, one of these I think is North Korea and the other one I think is Kosovo. Anyways. point is, like, the argument that, oh, like, this is, like, unfair to other, like, crimes and all that shit, I think it's, like, pretty fucking, like, it falls flat when you consider that Asia and South America have also been ravagely looted and destroyed and invaded by Western countries. Despite this, most of them, and like if quite a few of them didn't vote here, like, but most of them, a vast majority of them, voted for this resolution, including China, which was heavily genocided by the Japanese, North Korea, which was also heavily genocided by, the Japanese, and like especially America during the Korean War, India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, country. Like, India and China, that by itself represents, like, more than 2.5 billion people, I think. Or at least close to that. A quarter or a third of the world. Even though, it's not everyone, but, like, even they recognize the awful extent of these crimes. And this is despite, India is cozying up a lot to Western countries, and Pakistan as well as a lot of these other countries. Like, it's just so bullshit. It's so fucking hypocritical, and just, like, shows you how little of a shit the Western countries give about the horrific crimes they've committed across the world, while still committing them. Like, when a lot of colonial countries, they quote unquote left the colonies, they had set up the industries to still benefit them. So sure, the flag changed, and in theory, the political power also changed, but the economic colonization remained. Especially in countries which France occupied, and that's why France also has like a little bit of an army going around doing shit down there, And also, Western countries have meddled in these the former colonies ever since they left. So the colonization never really ended in most instances. So yeah. That is, that's great, that's awesome. Isn't that just, like, so great? Also, this is, like, capturing the wrong thing. Is that it? Yeah, there we go. So this one, wait, done. You want to vote done. We need Cuba and the Israel execution law. And this is elephant. The elephant is probably not gonna happen today, because I need to check the video to see if I'm doxing anyone in it. Okay, let's have a... How are the countries who benefit from the transatlantic slave trade the most felt after voting no or not voting at all? Is this a repost? 'Cause I've seen this, but yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a repost. It's just... This shit pisses me off so much, because it's just, like, such an obvious... Like, it's such obvious bullshit. Like, I don't know what else to say. Right. Cuba... Okay. And we'll also, like, quickly go over that. Cuba... Like, I think they received oil from Russia recently. So, the worst guy, doing something great. Which, like, this also just... like undermines a lot of the Western countries' arguments about, which, they call out Russia on doing bad things, but they will not call America out on doing bad things. It undermines the arguments, and this is like also one of the reasons for why a lot of people from the global south who are not, completely brainwashed by Western propaganda goes, actually, maybe Russia's not so bad at all, even though, So yeah, that is great. Great stuff all around. At least I'm just glad that Cuba got some oil. Hassan was also down there bringing some aid. And actually, let's see. Hassan, Cuba. Because it's something about, like, they made a what do you call it? they made a very cool. Okay, EU Destiny. I'm just gonna block this. Can I not block? This is disgusting. Hassan Piker's relief trip to Cuba. Alex Michelson. Actually, yeah, let's watch that. This would be good. Alex is actually an old friend of Hassan, from what I can understand. I remember he did some debates on his like, Fox affiliated show like ages ago. I've seen some of those; they're quite good.
Hiker is one of the biggest social media influencers and political commentators in the world, with millions of followers online. He just returned from a visit to Cuba, where he saw conditions on the ground firsthand. Hassan Piker, welcome to The Story Is for the first time. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Paint us a picture of what it's like on the ground. What'd you see?
When I first landed in Cuba, I was taken aback by how beautiful everything was. You know, you got the 1950s cars, and it's a tropical island destination. But very quickly thereafter, as soon as we got into Havana, the main city area where people congregate, I couldn't believe the sights that I was seeing. It was very sad. You had homes that looked like they were bombed.
Is that
out.
Ryan Grimm? Wait, I think that's Ryan Grimm there. That's
The
nice.
sights that I was seeing. It was very sad. You had homes that looked like they were bombed out. Our tour guide at the time said that this was somewhat of a product of hurricane season and how difficult it is to like repair these buildings. And I already had known about the rolling blackouts, and I experienced them later in the day. And it was definitely unlike anything I've ever experienced before. Everything's pitch black. There aren't any traffic lights on. Like it's crazy, right? But I was taken aback. I was very sad by all the poverty that I saw, and then I was very angry. It was actually Ben Rhodes who told me that I would get very sad when I first went to
Former Obama foreign policy advisor.
Former Obama foreign policy advisor Ben Rhodes, who was
Whom we also interviewed like a few days beforehand. I highly recommend you guys checking it out. If I'm not sure if we actually checked it out on stream. I remember watching it, but I just don't remember if I've also watched it on stream or not.
Formative in the previous normalization agreement with Cuba that Barack Obama had orchestrated, and he was right. It was very sad to see, but then it was very angering. It was very anger-inducing because I felt like there was a lot of potential on this island that we were just robbing the people of, and it's totally cruel and totally
Makes a lot of sense. It's kind of how I feel about pretty much every part of the global south I see.
Necessary. And it was part of the reason why I went to Cuba, because I've heard a lot about Cuban organizing, the Cuban government. I'd read a lot about it.
Sure.
I knew about the island's history of developing sovereignty, but I'd also heard about this blockade, right? And I wanted to figure out exactly how this blockade was harming people directly, and in many ways that are indirect, because the blockade itself is designed to be invisible. It's a system of sanctions. It's this like bureaucratic nightmare that basically renders it impossible for the island to do regular commerce, just like any other country. Banks can't take out loans from any other banks. And you, as an American citizen, as a matter of fact, have a lot of restrictions on what you can and can't do, both on the island, or if you wanted to even send money, if you have relatives on the island. It's a very difficult process to like directly send cash payments to your relatives as well. It's totally unnecessary. These rules are so arbitrary, and yet they're so damaging to everyone, to everyday Cuban existence.
What were you most surprised by actually seeing it up close and personal?
I was surprised by the resilience. I was surprised by the fact that people, in spite of all of these, struggles, were still surviving, right? They had a relatively chill attitude about everything, which was somewhat shocking to me because I feel like I'm a much more high-intensity person. But I was also really impressed with the accomplishments that they've made in places like biomedical, in the biomedical field.
What do you think is, at this point, the biggest need? Because we hear, like, the New York Times reporting about the fact that the power goes off in the hospitals and, like, babies are having to, be hand pumped to keep them alive in certain situations. I mean, what do you think is the greatest need
It's oil,
on the ground?
100%. And it's actually totally legal for Cuba to trade with other countries. It's just that America makes it impossible. So what is a necessity is for the grid to come back alive. And for that to happen, they need to get oil. And I believe there's a Russian tanker that just docked in Havana as of this morning, if I'm not mistaken, with 730,000 barrels of oil, which will provide much needed respite and will allow the Cuban energy grid to to survive. They'll still ration it heavily, but this way medicine can be transported on the island.
I want to give you a chance to respond to two criticisms of this trip that have gotten widely reported. The New York Times sort of called you out for the fact that you all stayed in a
just send a message.
Nice hotel that was very luxurious.
Oh yeah, it was cancelled for this. This is dumb as shit.
People on the island are dealing with every day. What's your response?
CIA
to
leftists
the
be
allegations
like
of hypocrisy?
CIA leftists and liberals. I think just mostly liberals though.
So we went on a humanitarian aid mission with foreign dignitaries, delegates, advocates, activists, journalists, and the like. It was around 200, 300, 400 people. I'm not exactly sure on the number, but the American government has placed, and this was fascinating to me, we had to get an OFAC clearance from the Treasury Department just to go, right? And the American government has actually created these incredible restrictions that only allow American citizens to stay in four hotels on the island. There are thousands of hotels on the island, but we can only stay in 4. And if
was it only 4? I thought it was only 4 hotels in like Havana, not on the island. But
I don't stay in a hotel, and these are 5-star hotels according to the American government. If I don't stay in one of those hotels, I could go to prison for 10 years and have to pay a $250,000 fine. Wow. I'm an American citizen. Yeah. It's so totally ridiculous. I've never seen anything.
Alex is great. I'm really happy that Hassan has like some friends in like mainstream media who are like, more than open to actually display the other side of the story, like a different story than the general like manufacturing of consent and other bullshit propaganda which Western mainstream media usually puts out.
And real quickly, there are a lot of people that are watching this, especially places like South Florida, that feel like the regime is repressive, that it's been a terrible regime, that it's killed people, and that what you're doing is
this kind of stuff. Like, not talking about Alex here, but people saying this are such like wankers, like as if this is not literally what America does, as if like America doesn't have ICE camps where they fucking rape children. Like, be for fucking real.
Propping them up. What do you say to that?
And before like the recent ICE bullshit as well, before the insane intensification of the ICE bullshit, like years ago as well, I'm pretty sure, like I'm almost certain they also did that shit when they captured like, kidnapped thousands upon thousands of other immigrants and whatnot. Like during the Obama era, Biden era, whatever the fuck.
I just don't want babies to die. I don't want people to suffer. I think that the difference in opinion as far as like how Cuba governs itself is up to the Cuban population. I just want, as an American citizen, to stop putting our hand on the scale in this incredibly violent way. Because the results are unbelievably violent. Collective punishment is a war crime after all, and there is no other way to look at what we've done, especially as Trump has like basically said the quiet part out loud and restricted all oil from going into the island. It's impossible to ignore.
Yes, it is. And according to what he's saying, it sounds like this story is not going away anytime soon. Hassan Piker, thank you for sharing your views. Great to see you.
So some good news on this is that let me just like close some of these. So I believe Cuba oil, I believe Russia. So again, Russia, they successfully what? Wait, what? No research results for Cuba oil. Okay, that's weird. Russian oil tanker docks in Cuba ending near total blockade. I don't know how much oil they gave. Probably not nearly enough as they need, but it was an apparent softening Washington's oil blockade after President Trump said last week, and they had no problem with countries sending fuel to Cuba. Sure, whatever. I don't know how much they send. Like, I don't know how much, like, how far 730,000 barrels of crude oil, I don't know how far that extends. I don't know if they sold it to them, or, like, and if they did, or if they gave it to them, if they sold it to them, like, at what price they sold it to them, etc. But in any case, it's good. It still needs to be refined at an aging refinery in Havana, a process which would take longer than a week. I don't know how far it will go, but, you know, it's good. It's good that it was allowed there. And I think it's weird. It's so, like, insane to me that Russia just gets this huge fucking win of, you know, sending oil to Cuba, like a country being illegally blockaded by the US, supported by, you know, all Western countries, either through complicity, through silence, or some other shit. I believe also Mexico said something about they might send oil to Cuba. I'm not so Mexico to aid Cuba. Let's see. So Mexico aid ships anticipate en route to Cuba. I believe they were found again. But I thought there was something about. I thought there was something about the Mexican government. They were like, yeah, we're going to send oil or something to Cuba as well. Maybe I remember wrong. Mexico government, Cuba. The Christian Science Monitor. It's an interesting name. Mexico sends more aid to Cuba, calls for UN action. I think that's related to the humanitarian effort that Hassan was part of. Alright, I might be remembering wrong. I just remember seeing something about like Mexico were like also thinking of like sending oil to Cuba or something of that sort.
For having me.
Alright. So that's that. We've covered Cuba. I'm not sure what to say about the Iran war. It's still ongoing. Trump had like a speech about it yesterday where, from what I understand, it didn't really say much, but maybe I'm remembering wrong. They actually, US Army Chief Al said mid-war Trump ramped up strikes in Iran, which is interesting. An interesting choice to do in the middle of a war. There's like, from what I can understand, at this point, it's like, will the US put troops on the ground on Iran? Will they not? We don't know yet. It's kind of up in the air. So yeah, thank you for the link. I'll check it out. Let's see, what is this? China defends Mexico's right to supply oil to Cuba. Thank you. But when is this on March 30th? Awesome. Thank you so much. What it's called. Okay, I probably need to move away from that like search engine. That it's not very good. Either that, or I'm just bad at using it, or both. In any case, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum has said that the country has every right to send fuels to Cuba, whether for humanitarian or commercial reasons, from March 30th, 2026. Sheinbaum's remarks on Monday came one day after US President Trump softened his stance on the block of oil shipments to a communist-run island and as a Russian oil tanker approached Havana. The Mexican government always seeks to send humanitarian aid, and it is in that context that we will make the decision. Sheinbaum responded at a morning press conference in response to a question about fuel shipments to Cuba. She did not specify or give a timeline for when Mexico could decide to send an oil shipment to Cuba. Sheinbaum also said that private companies in Cuba such as Celsa have approached the Mexican government to purchase oil from state-owned energy company Pemex. I didn't know they had a state-owned oil company. That's good. They have that. Sheinbaum states winning very, very cool president. Like, from what I can understand, I don't know much about her politics, but in general, you know, much better than like probably like among like top 5% or like whatever of world leaders. Right. So we have covered Cuba. To that, Iran war is like sort of covered, and the Israel execution law. Did we go through that? No, we'll go through that now. Then I'll also close this. I don't want to save it. All right. Israel discriminatory death penalty bill passes. On March 30th, the Israeli Knesset, their parliament, passed a discriminatory bill expanding the use of the death penalty for terrorism-related offenses, Human Rights Watch said today. The wording of the bill makes it clear that it would primarily, if not exclusively, be applied to Palestinians. Within the civil court system in Israel, the bill imposed the death penalty for the deliberate killing of a person with the intention of negating the existence of the state of Israel. It mandates execution by hanging, restricts access to legal counsel and visits from family members, limits external oversight, and grants immunity to those involved in carrying out the execution. That's an interesting provision. I did not know about that. I wonder why they have to do that. Within the military court system of the occupied Palestinian territory, the bill imposes the death penalty for killing is classified as acts of terrorism, as defined under Israeli law, even without prosecutorial request. The bill only allows courts to order life imprisonment in unspecified exceptional cases where special reasons are found, limiting judicial discretion. It also prohibits commutation of sentences and mandates execution within an accelerated time frame of 90 days. Israeli citizens and residents explicitly excluded from this provision. Military jurisdiction applies exclusively to Palestinians, while Israeli settlers are tried in civilian courts. The Israeli human rights group B'Tselem said in a statement that military trials of Palestinians have an approximately 96% conviction rate, based largely on confessions extracted under duress and torture during interrogations. The only democracy in the Middle East, by the way, guys. This apartheid state, only democracy in the Middle East. The only humane country down there. Yeah, sure. Human Rights Watch opposes capital punishment under all circumstances as a practice unique in its cruelty and finality. Also, it's very often used for. I mean, usually, where they have this, like especially in Western countries, it's capital punishment is often used like unequally, much like most other laws, to like discriminate and that kind of thing. But here it's just like directly a part of it. I don't know much about the outlet, but they interviewed Ofer Kassif here. Ooh, nice. And national news. I think national news are not great. I might be remembering wrong. I know I've seen them in a few places. I'm not quite sure.
Within the political discourse in the Knesset,
I will have a look at that in a moment. The following quote can be attributed to Adam Kugel, Deputy Middle East Director at Human Rights Watch. Israeli officials argued that imposing the death penalty is about security, but in reality it entrenches discrimination and suits its system of justice, both hallmarks of apartheid. The death penalty is irreversible and cruel. Combined with its severe restrictions on appeals and its 90-day execution timeline, this bill aims to kill Palestinian detainees faster and with less scrutiny. Yeah. Because now that they are kind of like they have slightly gone down on their like very obvious genocide of the Palestinians. Now they gotta do it in a legal way, so it's easier to bury and isn't much of a headline. Again, many of these detainees, many of the hostages that the Israeli state takes from Palestine, many of the Palestinian hostages are literally children. Actually, I think. I remember seeing a pretty good video on that. Let me see if I can find it real quick. This is a Danish guy. Because I've been getting some of that recently. Favorites, let's see, collection, watch and stream. I've added so many videos to this thing. Let's see. Oh, there was also April 1st and a bunch of pranks related to that. Let me see if I can find something. Did I save that? I'm pretty sure I saved it. Like going through shit. I forgot. What was it? What was this shit? There's something specific that I wanted to find regarding the death penalty. I think. Oh yeah, right. I remember now. It's like it's about the what do you call it? I think I reposted it actually. Let me check. I reposted a video about because they basically a lot of children. There you go. Oh, there you go. Found it. Israel is the only place in the world to have a juvenile military court system. I'm not quite sure if that is true, but.
I'll watch this documentary.
After interrogation, children are brought here for trial. Ofer military prison near Jerusalem. The army would not let Four Corners film inside.
I've been behind these walls 3 times. I saw children shuffling across the courtyard, handcuffed and shackled. Some hearings lasted 60 seconds. I saw one boy shout the name of his prison so his mother would know where he was being held. I saw the judge convict some children without even once looking at them. Through it all, what I saw was a conveyor belt of convicted children.
I think perhaps to give you some indication of how efficient from a military perspective this system is. According to the military court's own records, their annual report, The courts have a conviction rate of around 99.74%.
Typically, a Palestinian boy convicted of throwing stones will be sentenced to about 3 months imprisonment. The United Nations Children's Agency, UNICEF, last year
And I'm pretty sure that a lot of them are held for much longer than
released
that.
a scathing report on Israel's system. It found that Palestinian children had been threatened with death, physical violence, solitary confinement, and sexual assault against themselves or a family member.
The report found that ill treatment was widespread, systematic, and institutionalized throughout the system, from the moment that the child was arrested right up until the sentencing process.
Last month, under pressure from human rights groups, Israel stopped the long-standing practice of keeping children overnight in outdoor cages. Children had been kept freezing in the cages during snowstorms.
Take a minute and watch this
Lovely.
documentary.
Isn't that just fucking awesome? Greatest ally of the West in the Middle East, which also now is destroying major parts of Iran, including the history and bombing. Like, literally the first thing they did was went in there and bomb a fucking school, killing 150, I think maybe like almost 200 school children and their parents. It's a... as this comment says here, it's a child prison, juvenile implies teenagers, but some are only 5 years of age. I can look into this, and I can't be asked, but I'm pretty sure that's fucking true, because I've heard, like, I know that similar shit, like stuff like this is what they do down there. I mean, literally, a couple of days ago, they fucking kidnapped a fucking child, like, I think a 1-month-old baby, a 1-year-old, I remember 1 month or 1 year, it doesn't really matter. Like, they kidnapped a baby to, like, put pressure on his fucking father, it's probably to turn him into, like, an agent or whatever the fuck, I don't know. And they found... when they gave it back, the baby had fucking scorch marks on them. Like, insanely fucked up shit. This is, like incomprehensible. This is what turns a lot of people into fucking anti-Semites, because European countries and Western countries just in general defend this shit. Are just like, oh, this is like an ally, blah 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 blah, you're being anti-Semitic when you criticize Israel, even though they're doing this insane shit which it just does not make sense to the average person. The reason for this is because they're protecting capital, and Israel is like a great capital like project and all that shit, and also just, you know, colonial power and whatever, like a base for the West and the capitalist overlords in the Middle East. But most people don't know anything about that, because, you know, anything to do with communism and like liberation and decolonialism and imperialism, any like knowledge about that is just not something that's properly taught in like 90% of schooling, 99% of schooling probably. So the most obvious thing that people then turn to is becoming anti-Semites. Thanks, Western countries. You're just fucking shit up, like, once again. You're just allowing awful things to happen, and then also in that process making people get the wrong message, like lead them to the wrong conclusions. Awesome. Thank you. Very cool.
Take a minute.
I don't like Western countries. They're not very good.
And watch this documentary.
Let me just find Palestinian 1-year-old. Let's see. Is it this one? Okay, wait, let's just find an article, because I'm not sure what. Al Jazeera, 1-year-old Palestinian. Torture. Israeli soldiers accused of torturing toddler in Gaza. Oh, sorry, it's 2 years old. The family of a 2-year-old boy in Gaza, central Gaza, says Israeli soldiers tortured him to extract information about his father.
Jawad is a 2-year-old from Gaza. Doctors believe these burns have been caused by cigarettes and the wounds on his legs from a sharp object. Jawad was reunited with his
fucking torturing a 2-year-old fucking baby. Like, what the fuck?
family in Al-Maghazi refugee camp. Hours after witnesses say he and his father were detained by Israeli forces. His family says there was blood on his clothes.
When we first received him, we noticed blood on his pants. His mother examined his body and saw wounds. At first, we thought it might be from shrapnel, but when we got him to the hospital, doctors confirmed these are clear signs of abuse caused by cigarettes and a sharp object. The wound on his leg has both an entrance and an exit, and now you can see his condition.
On March 20th, Jawad was with his father Osama Abu Nassar in Al-Maghazi. Witnesses say they were detained shortly after approaching Israel's so-called yellow demarcation line.
This is the area where Osama Abu Nassar was last seen carrying his son. Israeli forces are deployed here. They rushed to reach him, but came under fire from tanks. He was detained by Israeli troops behind that hill with his child, while ground forces fired at us to push us back.
For hours, his family had no information about their whereabouts. 10 hours later, a call came from the Red Cross asking the family to collect their child. Jawad was returned alone. He was taken to Al-Aqsa Hospital where medical teams documented signs of abuse. Osama Abu Nassar is now in Israeli detention. Jawad remains another child in Gaza growing up in a reality where brutality arrives early and leaves a lasting impact. This is the medical report for Jawad. Doctors documented injuries around both knees consistent with cigarette burns. The report also classifies this as a case of child abuse by unknown individuals. For families in Gaza, even the youngest are not shielded from Israeli army brutality. And this case highlights the urgent risks Gaza children face every day.
This reminds me.
Jawad is a 2-year-old.
How many, like, because this is some shit that Western mainstream media will not report on. And this is this reminds me of a gripe I have. Like, I remember someone in, I think in like another leftist streamer's Discord server or whatever. They were like, oh, I hate Al Jazeera, they're doing propaganda and shit, they're awful. And I was so fucking pissed at them because they're just like, you know, throwing all of Al Jazeera on the bus. Like, sure, Al Jazeera has issues. I'm sure, especially the Arab-speaking Al Jazeera has many, like, does a lot of propaganda for awful things. But like, you can't just throw the entirety of Al Jazeera out when they report on this stuff, which almost no other mainstream media, like in the Anglosphere, Western sphere, like reports on, right? Like, especially considering, like, I think like a majority of like the 200 plus journalists who have been murdered in Palestine by Israel, like I'm pretty sure a majority of them, or at least a lot of them, were Al Jazeera reporters. The same with TRT, you have to pick and choose. Exactly. Like, especially because like Al Jazeera, especially because like in the Western world, Al Jazeera is like, even though they're not technically like Western media, I would say, but that they are tailored towards a Western audience. I would say like they're one of the only, I think they're the most progressive of like media in the West, of big media in the West. They are the most progressive, of big, like the culture ones is we can't talk down on this journalism. Exactly, like in general, Al Jazeera is the only like big news site tailored to the Western audience, which actually talks about like it's very progressive on a lot of topics in general. Like I remember seeing like even when they report on like, you know, Iran, which they are obviously biased against because they're based in Qatar, so they have to, you know, they have to some extent follow Qatar foreign policy. Even then, for the most part, they're still way better than Western media on reporting on what's happened. A lot fairer to Iranian, they're much more real on the situation there, on the reality of like Iran being invaded and shit. Like, okay, let's see, like this YouTube video, who's uploaded this? Yep, Al Jazeera English. What a surprise. Like, it's just, also I need to change my profile picture on YouTube, oops. It's just fucked up. I was following TT World for a while for the past time reporting. They got hit with a series of anti-trans videos that they uploaded and just unfollowed. But yeah, Al Jazeera was one of the first outlets for Palestinians before Al Mayadeen on the Middle East side. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's I don't know what. I didn't know that TT World does that. That's not that surprising, unfortunately. It's very fucked. But yeah, they're still like one of the few media, like, I think they're also getting bigger, who are actually reporting on this kind of thing. But yeah, fuck them for when they're doing anti-trans shit and whatnot. Also, hello, Blue Rose Moon. I think it's your first chat in my chat. Welcome. So yeah, I think these are like some of the big issues I wanted. I think I've covered like a fair few of the things that I've missed covering, or which happened like fairly recently, especially while I was away or like, you know, not come home yet. Basically since my last stream. Very fucked up shit. I'm gonna prepare some foods that I got from my parents, from my dear mom. So we're gonna find a video that I can watch meanwhile. That we will watch meanwhile I eat. But before that, because it'll still be a little bit while the food is getting heated. Let's watch this, because this looks like a cool video. On some issues they can't be fucked up due to the fact that it's a Turkish state broadcaster. Yeah. I assume you mean can. Also, quick question, guys. When you watch my stream, do you have like what settings do you have for the quality of the stream? Like, is it only 720p, or do you also have like lower options as well? Because I want to ensure that you can watch the stream on like low quality, especially because, you know, if you're you know, lurking and just have the tab open or something to support me, I don't want it to take too many resources from you. Okay, Falling Frontier, close combat. Let's have a look at this. This game looks cool. I am an apolitical streamer after all, so we gotta watch this. Oh, that reminds me, speaking of apolitical streaming and gaming, after we watch this video, we're gonna have a look at the 1st of April post by the Satisfactory devs, which is awesome, and then have a look at the chuds crying about it. This looks really nice. Those quality are available is 160, but it's really what streams of the source quality now they can. Nice, that's awesome. I just want to know for certain that the option for 160 is there. That's good. Okay, this looks really, really nice. A little bit of a quite complex UI. Reminds me of a little bit of what's it, Warhammer 40k, like Space Admiral or something. I don't remember the exact name of the game. Oh, just a second. I'm gonna. Oh wait, no. Usually put it on auto until I have to see something. That's funny. Okay.
Drone base online.
Target acquired. Now.
Mother's calling me, but I'm a little bit busy. I missed the call. And I missed a lot of the video because of that. Okay, this looks really, really cool. Like, I like the visuals of the fight. The one issue I have with a lot of like space combat games is that it's very difficult. Like the moment they begin to make them 3D, which makes sense because it's space and everything is 3D and whatnot, but they as soon as they make it like that, because it's like it's not like, you know, like a 3D game on Earth. You know, you have the ground and that's it, right? The most of the time. Or like if you're on the ocean, usually you have the ocean floor, and it's still 3D, but you still have like a floor. You don't really have that in space, so it makes sense that they make them fully 3D. But also it makes it very confusing and difficult to understand and see what's where and whatnot, which again also I feel like makes sense, it's realistic in a way, but it's difficult. It's very difficult. And I think it's very challenging to. I think it's very challenging for developers to make it so that it's easy for the player to understand and see what's going on. It looks like this is the type of game where they like sort of have a floor, but like they have like a 3D, like a visual, but they still have a ground level. That's what it looks like, at least, which I think is fine when games do that. It's to me, it's not super important that they, you know, that they have like what do you call it, Z levels or whatever in their combat. It kind of like the empty space in a graphics editor sometimes, yeah.
Airing online. Return to base received. Drone vectoring now.
Kind of some cool gameplay, close combat. What is this game called? Falling Frontier. That reminds me that I do want to play Star Sector at some point. This game looks very cool. Wishlist now made a wishlist this 3 years ago. Okay, that's funny. Can I open this on Steam without? Okay. How long have they developed this game for? Probably a while. Falling Frontier delay announcement. Oh well, it'd be like that. I hope the game will turn out great. I don't know what other aspects there are on this game, like what the strategic map and whatnot is like, if they have that, but either way, I hope the game is good. Like with most of the games, they're not crazy. Alright, let's see. Satisfactory. They recently had a video. Do they have an official? Let's see. April Fools. Let's see. If I can find it on YouTube, because that would be nice. April Fool's event in Satisfactory version of April Fool's. What is this? Okay, who uploaded this? Is this copies introduced? Yeah, okay, nice. Why can't we have a male character, male body type character customization? Please wait, guys, are we going to make a male body model? For context, the body model of in Satisfactory, you don't choose it, it's just like a fairly androgynous character. Yeah, that's it. So they posted this for April Fools. Can I play as a man or is this game sexist? Boys, this one's for you! Oh, oops. So they posted this, and let's see if I think my friend linked me this. Like, you have no reason to give a shit about what gender your character is in this game. You never see it. I will say that I do kind of hope they add this character, like, what they call him, Jason. Yeah, Jason. Jason Satisfactory. I do hope that they add him as like a playable character for longer or permanently, because it's amusing and they put work into it. Nice. Freda gave the go-ahead as well for watching their what do you call it? The podcast. I think the reaction podcast on stream. So we will definitely do that at some point. Again, I'm gonna shout out Freda real quick because Freda's great. Shout out Freda _ I think that's a yeah. There we go. Freda, really cool streamer, yeah, YouTuber, like leftist historian, very knowledgeable, just very witty and smart. They're great. Very big fan. Also, they play some fun games now and then. I saw them play the horsey game or whatever recently on Twitch. I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, and that was an experience. Let's see what I was gonna do. All right, I was gonna find the link for the shitter post that Satisfactory did for this announcement. Let's see if we can find it. Okay, right. So, you know, that's the same post, Satisfactory as fuck, they posted. We can't read the replies without logging in. I don't want to make a shitter account. Maybe I should, just for the streams, and because a lot of news and stuff are on shitter. I just can't be asked, I don't want to deal with it, I don't want to manage it and all that, but I might have to. Maybe we can find some in the comments. Where else did they post it? On TikTok, maybe? Yeah, let's see, Satisfactory. I think they also posted on TikTok, Satisfactory. Yeah, there you go. They posted it here. Kind of players 4.2 billion wasps. I feel like they're underrepresented like every game ever. Truth nuke. Very true. Let's see. The only bad choice was choosing a Cybertruck, but I understand just for easy modeling. What do you mean? Coolest car truck thing ever, man. Makes me feel big and strong. Not gonna lie, I don't care about the model being bad, but it is in fact bad. No reason to ever change it. But I hope we are on the same page that it's awful. Trying not to take this personally, but this is literally me. Is this one of the devs? I'm literally him. They're amusing. Cute little, you know, just posting. Let's see. I want to go to the bottom, like see the stupid comments. I want to find those, the fun ones, where people complain. Basically, it's the TLDRs that a lot of men was just like, oh, this game is sexist against men. It's like, oh, this game is woke. I'm glad I know about this game being woke, so I will never buy it. I will never support this woke game, these woke devs. And just like oh, like I didn't care about this until, like, I thought, like, I was fine with this until you guys were loud and annoying about it, posting this like obvious just 1st of April joke. Like, they're not even saying anything bad, they're just making a meme, they're just making a joke. If you like, just, but like right-wingers, they're just so fragile. Like, sexist men are so fucking fragile. Like, it's pathetic. It's so fucking pathetic. And I really desperately need to, like, I really should make, if I make a shitter account by today or tomorrow, then we'll have a look at some of the comments, because it's just hilariously pathetic how just how sensitive they are, like how much they're crying about this one joke. Even if there was a male mod option, I still would have picked the baddie option. I don't know how to feel about that, but at least I'm not butthurt about it. So, Satisfactory, can you guys add sweatshops to the game? Thanks. So, wow. So if you originally, okay, we found one. So if you originally made a male model and everyone kept asking for a female model, you'd make the same joke, right? like acting as if it would be the same circumstances if it was like reversed, which it would not be, because men are very much overrepresented in video games, and women are very often not represented in video games, and if they are, very often they are sexualized, like with most other media. At least from at least Western media. I can't, of course, speak of other media. Also, have you seen Ludwig and Michael Reeves doing a tip-to-tip in China? A tip-to-tip in China? Could you elaborate on that a little bit? Way too cold. Just a little bit. What do you mean by they did a tip-to-tip in China? What do you mean by that? Okay, so we'll probably watch Freda later, maybe as we're playing a video game. Speaking of, I need to think about which video game I want to play. If you guys remember which games we played recently, do remind me, so we might return to those. We at least should. We'll see about if we actually do or not. Currently, Cardi B and Maya announced 2K is coming to New York. Okay, let's have a look at that real quick. That looks fun. I am a Maya Mamdani stan. I'm critical support for Maya Mamdani. Like, he's South Asian, he's Muslim. Like, I don't give a shit. People can shit up. Like, you can have valid criticisms of him, but you cannot deny that he is very popular, like among normal people. The only people who he's not popular amongst are, like, you know, freaks and some leftists. Again, you should be able to criticize him. I think that's fine, but I wish leftists would think about, you know, actually reaching our goal of a worldwide, you know, revolution, and, you know, getting rid of capitalism and, you know, making the world a good place. And you don't really help that if you just keep shitting on the most popular fucking politician in fucking America, maybe even in the Western fucking world. You don't get that. You could criticize him still, but the way you should do that is being like, so what I did here was not great, blah, 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 blah. But doing it in like an obnoxious way does not help our cause whatsoever. In fact, you're just kind of, I would say you're just sort of virtue signaling, which I don't like saying, but no, actually, yeah, I would say you're just virtue signaling at that point. Because associating him with socialism is just objectively good for us. Sure, people get the wrong idea, but that's just kind of what happens when you have to deprogram people from a point of, you know, like insane indoctrination into a capitalist system that we live in.
How are you? Can you believe that? You got a 34-year-old mayor.
We do.
Like, I feel like I'm a kid, and you're like running New York.
I'm right there. Cardi, what do you think about free childcare?
I feel like free childcare is very important. Sometimes us women, we can't really go forward because we don't have nobody to help us take care of our kids.
This fall, we're starting to deliver universal 2K,
yes,
which is just like pre-K, just like 3K, but 2K for 2-year-olds.
Yes.
Free childcare, 2,000 seats in the fall.
Wow.
And they're going to be seats in the Bronx, starting it up. Shout out to the BX. And enrollment actually starts in June.
Wow.
And we had a question for you.
Yes.
We're going to have a competition to create a jingle.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So New Yorkers are going to submit their best jingle.
Oh, wow.
And we wanted to know if you would help judge that competition.
Oh, I will judge it for sure.
Cardi's going to help you.
Yes, I'm going to help you.
By judging this competition.
No, the mayor's going to help you. And I'm going to judge, and he's the one with the fun. Yeah. Amen. Amen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Genuinely, like, notice how he's not talking about socialism or capitalism or anything in this video. This is what leftists need to do if you want to actually mobilize people and just, you know, help like us reach communism or socialism, whatever the fuck. I was talking about they are driving with their bikes from South China to the northern border. Oh shit, that sounds awesome. Without using them, trying to speak Chinese, being critical is fine, but we still have to organize. Exactly. Like, you have to organize, but the thing is, like, I really like Hassan's way of dealing with this kind of thing, like in general, when like discussing other leftists or like people who are perceived as leftists. Generally, don't focus on your criticism of them, partially because it's not helping you. When you ally with someone, like, okay, we're in a war, right? In warfare, like, let's say in a geopolitical situation, let's say I'm playing EU4. I'm playing as the Ottomans, and we're at the start of the game. this is weird. And let's say that the politics are a thing there or whatever. I want to conquer the Byzantium. I want to conquer Istanbul as it's rightfully Turkish clay or whatever. I don't really... I don't get... It's not useful for me to make enemies of fucking Venice and Hungary or whatever, like other countries in the vicinity, until I've at least conquered that. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, you have to choose, like, pick and choose your enemies. An example is, for example, Iran, like, critical of Iran and a lot of their interpretation of Islam and, you know, their politics as a result of that. However, like, focusing on that one them being invaded is stupid. Focusing on, like, their repression, we can mention it and it's real and stuff like that, when they are literally one of the only anti-imperialist powers in the Middle East, if not the world, is, you know, kind of a big deal. Like, they supported, like, I think LB said this, they supported the ANC while they were fighting against the apartheid. Something which nearly no fucking Western country did. In fact, they did the opposite. Like, Nelson Mandela was considered a terrorist until, I think, 2004, 2008 by the American State Department. Sure, you can criticize Iran, but it's insanely hypocritical to do that if you don't do at least, like, the equivalent of that for your own countries. Like, if a Danish person, for example, like, oh, why are you supporting Iran or whatever, and they do these awful things, like, they're oppressive against women, and they do these awful things, which they definitely do. I'd be like, well, we are supporting the murder of their children. The Danish, like, prime minister, which we currently don't have one, I believe they're still forming a government. Maybe they have, I don't know. But just before the election, or around that time, she said something like, oh yeah, like, Denmark is ready to assist the US with, like, freeing the Homo Straits. Like, the fuck do you mean? Why the fuck should we get involved in that? Like, are you fucking stupid? Like, why the fuck should we get involved in, like, just oppressing the Iranian people further, support this illegal war on them? Like, that's insanely hypocritical. Like, we are supporting, like, the entire West is supporting the system where hundreds of thousands and millions of people are under, like, slavery conditions, like, literally slaves, like in the US, like, you know, they literally have prison slave labor, or we are allied with awful countries which have similar, like, insanely awful, like, working conditions, like a lot of Gulf states. Or just we just prop up so many dictatorships because we want to have our control in the region, like pretty much most Arab countries. Or like other, just any ally. We're fine with you being our ally. You can do whatever you want if you're as long as you're a Western ally. You can be the most brutal dictator and it's fine for us. You know, like, it's just, it's hypocritical and it's stupid to focus on criticizing the very few potential allies we have when we can work together on these issues. And the thing is, like, if I was like a big country or whatever, if I was a big woke country, let's say I make the Great Shaman, the Shamanist Union or whatever, like, I would work with Iran on anti-imperialist shit, and then through that, hopefully become better friends with them, and then speak to them, be like, bro, like, some of the stuff you did here is pretty cringe, right? Like, please don't do that. Like, let's talk about that. It's also just a thing of, like, approaching people, like, it's kind of like an extension of approaching people where they are at, right? Because whatever I think is immoral, etc., like, most people don't think the same, so I should approach them where they are at. Why is my Steam being annoying? Sorry, my Steam is just, like, giving me a lot of stuff, and I'm pretty sure I went offline. I guess it didn't. There we go. Okay. The point is, critical support and all that stuff. Don't focus on, like, a bunch of things. Don't. If you expend more energy, like, fighting like, people and institutions and governments and things which are generally, like, working towards, like, the left from where we're currently at, then you're a wanker. You're an idiot. You're a dipshit. You are unproductive. You are anti-productive. You are literally fucking up everything. That's a very long rant, but you get what I mean. TLDR, Mia Mandani is cool. You can criticize him, don't be annoying about it. How history works, how money works. But Hitler fixed the economy. Oh, that sounds interesting. They said that in like they're writing that in a sarcastic way, by the way, for anyone only listening. Oh, there's so many things that we can look at. So you think imperialism doesn't affect you? That's because you don't know what it is. This seems interesting. We might watch that at some point. Iran escalating attacks. Hexet's unprecedented language, racist war crimes fierce in Iran. Racist war crime fierce. Yeah, like see, even like again, I'll just say, like Iran is the enemy of Al Jazeera's government, but even then, it's not as good as reporting as it should be, but probably still better than most Western outlets, and much fairer at the very least. Oh, also recently, another big thing is that a lot of Democrats, a lot of the American quote unquote left, like basically the less right Democrats, mainstream Democrats, etc., have, and along with the pro-Zionist entities, like institutions, organizations, etc., have just like worked against Hassan and been like, oh, Hassan is awful. Like, why would you work with Hassan? He's a bad person, blah, blah, blah. So apparently that's a big effort right now. And Kyle Kalinske, who has done some problematic things, some shitty things, but whatever the fuck, in general, he's fighting in the correct direction, has been very aggressively supporting Hassan, which is nice. Now, I would very much like to find a video before my food goes bloody cold. Do people want a United Ireland? Oh yeah, AJ Plus. AJ Plus is great. TDL News. Actually, let me see. There's some... Shit, what was the name of this guy? Was it... Rota? Is that like... No, it's not this. I remember there's like... There's a guy, I don't remember his name, but I want to follow him on YouTube. There's a bunch of people I want to follow on YouTube that I haven't followed yet on this, like, you know, my YouTube channel, our YouTube channel. Crossing China with Nomak Ludwig. Is that it? Oh yeah, I assume this is the one. That could be fun to watch. It could be fun to watch. It's a little bit longer than I want, but maybe that'll also give me time to do some other things in the meantime. Okay, so that's one option. We could watch Crossing China with No Map. My face is funny with the internet comment etiquette with Eric, which I'm very happy that he went this direction and not, you know, the right-wing direction like a lot of his peers. Did Freda also come up with a video, or is he like still working on it? Let's see. Online fascism, metapolitics, and the new right explained. Ooh, okay, we might watch this. I remember watching it. He watched it live. I remember he watched it live on his Twitch channel.
Enjoyed its zenith in the interwar period and in the.
Okay. Let us watch this. All right. Pinning this. There we go. Remember to watch the video on the side, everyone, to support Freda, who's a very cool guy. I shouted out just above. Follow him on Twitch as well. Very, very cool guy, despite being Norwegian. Should I have to say, because I'm Danish? Actually, no, I don't know if... I feel like Danish people, we don't really have, like, the fake beef with Norway. We do have with Sweden and Swedes, but, you know. It's still fun to talk shit.
In the interwar period and in the early years of the Second World War. This was the fascist epoch. Even so, as you've no doubt seen
I'm gonna get my food.
Videos, fascism never fully went away. It has survived into the post-war era, and its many diverse fascist movements have adapted over time. Now,
oh, that's spoilers.
Fascism fully went away. It has survived into the post-war era, and its many diverse fascist movements have adapted over time. Nowadays, we see a fascism adapted perfectly to the conditions of the 21st century. Scholar of fascism Roger Griffin calls this, quote, cyber-fascism, but that sounds like it was cooked up by a Polish game developer, so I prefer the term online fascism. The sort of fascism we see today is global, it's international. European fascists laid a strategic groundwork, which is then imported by American fascists, where the American media and cultural exports are utilized to transmit their ideas to a global audience. It's a diverse kind of fascism. It doesn't matter if you're Latino, Asian, or Black. you too get to be a white supremacist. It doesn't matter if you're not even American or European. If you live in Malacca City in Malaysia, you're still expected to care deeply about how many citizens of Portland, Oregon are illegal immigrants. This is online fascism. Today, and ever since the ratcheting up of the culture war in the 2010s, I've seen the term fascist be applied in all sorts of ways, mostly for things that aren't explicitly fascist. What I'm about to say is by no means uncontroversial. The definition of fascism is probably one of the most hotly debated definitions in history academia. In 1980, the American historian Stanley G. Payne released his book Fascism, Comparison and Definition, which features a sort of checklist approach grouped under 3 categories. First is the fascist negations, or what fascism stands against. Then ideology and goals, and finally style and organization. I find this definition more descriptive of historical fascist movements than a real attempt at getting to the core or essence of fascism, so it's not the one that I will be utilizing here. Umberto Eco's 1995 essay, Urfascism, is also often brought up, though it takes a quote, family resemblance approach, which I do not find very useful either. Quote, fascism became an all-purpose term because one...
Maybe we'll watch this video on the side, actually, now that I think about it. Because otherwise I will need to, like, while I'm eating, I usually, like, if I were to watch this just while I'm eating, not on stream, I'd put this in, like, 1.5 speed or 2 speed. So ideally we'll find, maybe we'll watch this on Crossing China with no map. It's either that or something else, I'm not quite sure yet. If you guys have any recommendations for what we can watch, feel free to say so. Maybe I did a thing that they have a video. A new one. No. Not one we haven't already seen. I think we've seen this one. Good work has some good stuff. Potential history. Don't really post much ladies here. Also, like, because I want something that's like decently fast. Ooh, Soviet Muslims on Hajj. I would like to watch that at some point. DocuDuber. Okay, never mind. This is the guy talking about water. Water. That I'm following them. We should watch one or two of their videos at some point. They cover, like, I believe they're based in Europe, like somewhere in Europe, and they cover, you know, politics from a, if not leftist, at least like quite left-leaning perspective. Fisher, who has not posted a video for a little while. Flawed aesthetics of solar punk. That could be fun. Alright, do you guys have any, like, preferences or, like, recommendations for what we should watch? Because I'm, like, at kind of, like, a little bit of at wit's end for what we should watch.
Humans have a need.
This is 18 minutes, which is about the time I want to watch something. Oh, right, I remember now. Sad Cheetah, they recommended a good video, which I then put in the React suggestions. And now Autism dump, Info Dump Edition. That could be... Maybe we'll watch that, because that sounds very fun. That sounds like a perfect thing for me. We started the Anbana game as well on stream, didn't we? I think we did. So this would be perfect. I'm working now, I'll be kind of on enough. Alright, no worries. Good luck with work. Thank you for all the work. Thank you for being on my moderators. Much appreciated. Way too cold. Also, way too cold. But you followed me on TikTok. Oh, either TikTok or Instagram. And I think your full government name is there. That's something you might want to think about. Okay, why is this video not videoing both? Yes. I think either on Instagram or TikTok, like your full name is there, so just something to be for you to be aware of. Because at some point, inshallah, at some point, I will be cancelled by the right, and we'll fly to fucking prominence and be called a terror, and be terrorist jacketed, like face so much fucking Islamophobia and racism and all that shit. And I'll be super famous at the cost of also, you know, getting so much hate online, and it'll also affect everyone around me, I assume, unfortunately. So just, that's why I'm, you know, letting you know. Anyways, this video seems very fun. Put it here. Be sure to watch it on the side, everyone, to support them. Hello, Shimon, welcome back. Thank you, Attack Pingu. We're now gonna watch Anbenar Autism Info Dump Edition.
Have you ever played EU4
While I'm
and
eating.
thought, for a game titled European Design, there are way too many Yakubian devils here. I don't want to do nerd shit.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay, I love this start. It's an awesome start to a video.
Like sit around on speed 5 and recreate European imperialism as I fall into a catatonic daze. I want to paint the map my color with mountains of skulls. Well, have I got a mod for you. Become an immortal 666 Lich King and cover the world in eternal winter. Revive the spirit of Centaur Genghis Khan and create mountains of skulls. Become the global hegemon.
I should actually try that, but I feel like it's not gonna be that fun to play
It's
as
just
them.
some short kings hiding in some.
It's very fun to play some the nomadic hordes in the EU4, though I had a really good Iron Man campaign, which I never finished, of course.
Crush your enemies is the goblin Japanese. Just watch out for Nanking though. Nothing good ever happens there. No, this isn't the ramblings of a BP demon Sanrio femcel fresh out of grippy sock jail, but features in a mod for the game Europa Universalis 4. Anbenar.
Okay, insane, awesome editing.
Now, you might be wondering, why would you ever play a janky mod for a DLC simulator when Total War Warhammer 3 exists with Chaos Demons and arguably a better everything? You wanna know why? It is in my Chinese heritage to refuse to support the Japanese. When I call a 60-year-old Japanese man Hanko Slop Rawfish Barbarian, let me tell you, I can feel the spirit of Mao Zedong flowing through my veins. And with a single blast of my communist superpowers, I can annihilate the bourgeoisie devils. Anyways,
Okay,
today I'm going to be discussing.
I love this person. This is so fun. This is only 1.5 minutes in. Kirinixis. Awesome. I don't know what other videos, what other things they do. Let's have a look before we decide whether to subscribe. They seem insane, but in a fun-based way, so... Turn online translate into lingo. Actually, yeah, they seem great. Let's follow them. Hopefully they haven't said anything super fucked up.
Discussing a mod for a map sharing game called Anbenar. Why? Because I
also, I was gonna say, like, the reason for why you shouldn't play Anbenar over, like, you know, Warhammer 40k, or, you know, the Total War Warhammer is because, you know, there's just a different kind of depth to it.
Japanese.
And like the politics and stuff in the Total War games is like very lackluster most of the
Mao
time.
Zedong flowing through my veins. And with a single blast of my communist superpowers, I can annihilate the bourgeoisie devils. Anyways, today I'm going to be discussing a mod for a map sharing game called Anbenar. Why? Because I've sunk too much time into it, and by rule of sunk cost fallacy, I need to make something of it. This is a cry for help as much as it is a quote-unquote review. When it's 3 a.m. and you're 6 hours deep into a campaign and think, hey, I could probably start another one tomorrow. That's when you know Anbenar has set in. In all honesty, I'm just playing because the amount of content is ridiculous. Let's make a 12 content map, each with fleshed out lore and flavor. And oh yeah, let's give everybody mission trees. It doesn't matter if they typically get full Let's give them, say, oh, I don't know, 40 missions. And you want to know the scary part? It's still not done yet. Anbenar might as well be in an entirely new game, just wearing.
Shout out to the Anbenar Discord for answering my gay parentheses non-pejorative questions. Here's the Discord code 3YQF. Also, I just want to say, like, the reason for why there's so much content, I think it's because the way they've organized the building of this mod. It's basically so they have a couple of lead devs, and then they also have a lot of, like, the user community member can come in and, you know, like, make stuff for them. Like, you can suggest, like, oh, can I make this? Or, like, be like, oh, I want to take on, like, building out this faction or whatever. Because a lot of these factions were a lot more bare in the beginning. So I think it's, like, a mixture of, like, community feedback and community involvement while being, you know, having, like, someone at the top setting a general direction for the development of the game. And I think that's worked out really, really well. As you can see in how, like, if you ever play this, Like, if you play EU4, I highly recommend playing at the Anbanar mod at some point, because it's so fleshed out and has a lot of content.
The trappings and
It's great.
mechanics of EU4.
We can go cat for gut. Fuck that, we can go race for race.
The lore is probably pretty extensive. I didn't come here to read like a nerd. I just clicked the mission trees for the claims. You see, I came here to paint the map my color. I live vicariously through the great conquerors of history. I don't just see myself as Caesar. I am him reincarnated. I am a god amongst men. Fuck. God damn it. Whatever. Just let me start a new campaign. And that is the real story of Anbanar. What's that? You're crying about me ignoring the extensive lore inside of a mod? Here, take a quick look inside of this simple diagram to explain the lore of the races. Yeah, simple, right? So I choose to ignore the lore and invent my own. The planet of Halan was a utopia for the elves.
Halan, bro, this is pre-Yakub.
Until one day, an evil chaser sorcerer by the name of Yakub was cucked one too many times
of the
by the
elves?
lost elves. So, Yakub, filled with bitter rage, exhausted all the knowledge of Az-Kazur and set to work creating a weapon to punish the elves. The result? The human race. Masters in the art of technology and colonialism. They oppressed the elves for centuries, and now the elves have to try their best to survive as the humans enter their golden age of imperialism.
But you're ignoring the well-crafted lore.
Ugh. Fine. Here's a quick overview of the race.
Elves are cringe though towards the best always.
Humans. The well-rounded, boring, standard Yakubian colonizing ape. The closest thing to British people in this mod.
Hate the green side. Hating the majors, not racist, just don't like them. Reclaim Asgard. Simple as. Whey.
Imagine having 9 major races and you just pick humans. Stop being a nerd and pick somebody else. Elves. Objectively the best race. They lived for hundreds of years and are naturally skilled at magic. Considering how every trans woman low-key looks like an elf, they're also the cuntiest race. Ruinborn. Elves.
Okay, I'm not sure if I look forward to what they're gonna say about the
They've been
dwarves.
irradiated by exposure to LGBT. They can be found hugging a plush gay shark for gay little bottoms. They deserve to be tyrants. What else? Imagine the fantasy Vietnamese, but make their land at an infinite McDonald's play place. Prepare to be flanked from every conceivable angle because there are tunnels everywhere. If you value your sanity, never invade and just ignore them the whole game. Sun elves. Elves, but they picked up niche political extremism from Discord. They played one too many Hearts of Iron 4 games, and now their political beliefs cannot be explained in under 3 adjectives. Halflings. The fantasy equivalent of the Dutch.
Some of you will not understand how funny a lot of these references are, because a lot of these references are based off of, like, you wouldn't get it unless you've been too online in too many Discord servers for, like, years.
Fake
so
Yakubian
niche.
hinterland, where this is considered a real sentence. If they haven't been conquered by the major powers of Canor, then they spread across the new world like a colonizing
What was this?
plague. Been conquered by the
This is someone else footage because I refuse to ever play a colonial nation. Based?
cannot be explained in
Wait,
under
they're talking about the
3
Gnomes here, or?
Halflings.
Oh yeah, the halflings.
Fantasy equivalent of the Dutch. A fake Yakubian hinterland where this is considered a real sentence. If they haven't been conquered by the major powers of Canor, then they spread across the new world like a colonizing plague. Do yourself a mercy and punt the nearest halfling you see off a cliff. Harpies. Kung fu practicing lesbian bird people who basically never become significant geopolitically and disappear off the map by 1500. Orcs. The green tide menaces who terrify you in the early game with armies 3 times the normal force limit, but then you get a tech lead on them and then the orcs politely bend over and ask for it gently. Gnolls. Orcs, but they're furry Mongols. They really want to overrun the stewardship of the Sorrow. They're from the land of Yi. Barbarians. Goblins. Orcs, but they suck. A lot. Nobody plays goblins anyway, so I could just lie here. Goblins have the Agarthan communion ability that allows them to escape to Hyperborea when the dwarves inevitably full annex them. Centaurs. Horse people from the steppes with one
Why
thing
is it
on
not
their
common
mind,
dwarves yet?
conquest. If a centaur player hasn't conquered the world by 1600s, then they drink glue for fun. Ogres. Barry 65, but his local pint is human blood. Basically never significant outside of their hinterland, and they get stomped by centaurs. Harimari. Tiger people who exist in like 3 countries, so I have honestly no idea what they do. Apparently they do good shock damage. Kobolds.
Real quick, this is not quite true.
Human blood. Basically never significant outside of their hinterland, and
Okay, outside of the hinterland, okay, fair enough, but that's, you can say that about most countries in the game. There's like a big ogre country which expands very quickly at the northern side of the map, like just north of the Dwarven Mountains, and it becomes very big and very strong very quickly. I'm pretty sure it can rival it becomes a regional power.
They get stomped by centaurs. Harimari, tiger people who exist in like 3 countries, so I have honestly no idea what they do. Apparently they do good shock damage. Kobolds. There are only 4 kobold nations out of the hundreds in the game, but for some reason, some sick furry bastard decided to create a cute kobold portrait mod. Don't they just fill you with anger and hatred? God. Aru, if you're out there, you're one sick fuck. Trolls. I will spend as much time talking about the trolls as the developers spent on the trolls. Undead will be discussed at a later time. Dwarves. Dwarves hide in their...
I don't think Undead have a faction, by the way. I think, or maybe they do. Like, I don't think they have like a standalone faction as like a race. You can have it, like when you become a lich, you can get an Undead army, like change your army type to that. Because in Anbana, you have like the way the race impacts the game is that your administration is based off, you have a racial administration, and you also have like a racial military, which have different traits. And I think you can also have different ones. So I think if you have a, like for example, if you play as a dwarves, you're gonna have dwarven military, dwarven administrative traits, which will give you different effects. What universe are we talking? We're talking about Anbana.
Goon caves all game, developing their holds and slowly colonizing the remains of their fallen empire. They will...
Okay, excuse me, it's reclaiming. They're not colonizing, they're reclaiming their
somehow
empire.
be a great power despite only owning 6 provinces in the mountains. But you want to know the real truth about the dwarves? They are objectively the strongest race in the game because of their holds.
Base. Okay, I love this. This is one of my favorite gifts, by the way.
They can theoretically... The dwarves, they are objectively the strongest race in the game because of their holds. They can theoretically develop infinitely, creating the most developed provinces in the world. To nerf the unrepentant power of the dwarf, the devs decided to start them all in one province and give them the Horde Curse disaster. This is the most punishing disaster in the mod. You're gonna feel like Habsburg Spain declaring bankruptcy multiple times, going into decades of debt, just so you can continue to play the game.
There's an extended like very extensive like guide on how to deal with the Horde Curse. It's basically like, oh, we are rich, so everything is gonna suck now. Like everyone has become greedy, and like it's kind of like sort of like just capitalism in a way. Like it's like greed just fucking everyone up, making people kind of shitty in many ways. And there's an extensive guide on like how to navigate through it. And even if you follow that to a T, it's still very, very difficult. Like it's very difficult to get through the Horde Curse, or at the very least, it's gonna be a huge annoyance, and it's gonna like stop a lot of your expansion, or like it's gonna kneecap you for a long time, like for like at least a decade or 2.
Shudders to imagine a dwarf unfettered by the Horde Curse. Here's my objectively subjective opinion on the races.
Base.
Paradox games are an RNG generator as much as they are a story generator. Battles are technically entirely dice rolls, but what you do control is the entire circumstances around it. How many men do you field? Is their equipment guns or sticks and stones? Are they led by Cow reincarnated? Just watch out for the Red Cliffs. Nothing good ever happens there. In a sense, it is a reflection of real life, a chaotic mess of irrational actors that is nothing more than luck and inheritance. But to be able to control this chaos, and hey, you might be remembered forever. Colonization? Never do it. Doesn't matter if your entire country revolves around it. We may lose free land and development, but we gain the moral high ground. In 300 years, when I stand before the Hague for my many crimes, colonization will not be amongst them. The competition is playing chess, and fella, I'm just eating the pieces. Magic is also a new feature in Anbanar. Most of the magic is useless mod-
A new feature? Wait, what? It's from 1 year ago. I assume they mean... Was it new a year ago? I'm not sure. I don't think... No, I'm pretty sure it wasn't, because it's been there for a while. I think they mean like new from like... It's a feature that's not in the base game.
Fire stacking, except necromancy and abjuration. Fella, I'm just eating the pieces. Magic is also a new feature in Anbanar. Most of the magic is useless modifier stacking, except necromancy and abjuration. Necromancy is the school of magic that allows you to create immortal Lich Kings, and abjuration is the magical school of getting faster sieges. Unless, of course, somehow the minimum 70% chance Fireball misses 3 times in a row. I'm not gonna bore you with the intricacies of a nerd game, so I'm just gonna entice you to play with stories of different campaigns. We start the game off as... I'm not even gonna try.
I never realized that the name for Crackdom War sounds like Crackdom. until they zoomed in on it. Real quick, I'm just gonna say as well that they're a little bit. Oh, they're quite wrong in the magic. Like necromancy is great because it'll turn you become a lich. Divination has some benefits. I don't remember what, but like I remember like one of the magics you do basically makes your estates more loyal, like increase the loyalty equilibrium. One of them like makes it so you take less aggressive expansion or improve relations faster. One of them allows you to create homunculi, basically giving you not free, but like relatively cheap, like extra advices on top of your regular advices. And you can stack it as well. So let's say you have discipline, you can have a regular discipline advice and also a homunculus to do that, which is very, very strong. And does also some other things. Slavery? Is there slavery in the game? I don't remember. Probably yes.
Also a new feature in Anbanar.
I don't think you can use magic to do slavery.
Most of the magic is useless modifier stacking, except necromancy feature in Anbanar.
Also, they say useless modifier stacking will hovering over moral of armies plus 5% and shock damage plus 20%. That's quite significant.
Magic is useless modifier stacking, except necromancy and.
I'm pretty sure one of them also makes your forts much stronger for a while.
Abjuration. Necromancy is the school of magic that allows you to create immortal Lich Kings, and Abjuration is the magical school of getting faster siege. 3 times in a row. I'm not gonna bore you with the intricacies of a nerd game, so I'm just gonna entice you to play with stories of different campaigns. We start the game off as... I'm not even gonna try. Gungalar Greenbow. Gungalar Greenbow are the northern remnants as...
Are they on a Discord server while playing this?
I'm not even gonna try. Gungalar Greenbow. Gungalar Greenbow are the northern remnants of the once great Dwarven Empire. When we start the game, we're in a centuries-long stagnation and need to reclaim and repair our hold. How do we do this? Random events. Just sit there and support your reclamation faction of choice until the bar fills up and RNG decides you can start playing the game. That or going to heaps of debt to speed it up. This is the first disaster the dwarves have to resolve. The devs must have hated short people because this is just one of many. Now with our hold restored, we can easily turn a backwater outpost into one of the most developed provinces in the world. Also, by developing my hold, the 14th century Italian Renaissance teleported through 3 continents to appear in my capital. Don't question it, it's a mechanic, not a bug. Also, we get colonists. Hey. Calm down, calm down. The entire Serpent Spine is free colonizable real estate, and any province that you don't take for yourself will inevitably be taken by an enemy. Forgive me, Lord, for what I have to do. For some reason, dwarves uncolonized are unreasonable forces of nature who will revolt for no reason at all. So the solution is to station my entire army in the province just revolt for no reason at all.
This is not true. It's not dwarves. It's because it's the green screen remnants there. That's why.
Dwarves will be taken by an enemy. Real estate. Hey. It's a mechanic, not a bug. Also, we get colonists. Hey. Calm down, calm down.
So, it's a little bit difficult to see the icon, but those down there, like those are like goblins or ogres. That's why. It's not dwarves.
The entire...
There's also why when you colonize these, or like if you start with the land as custom nation, the land will be goblin or something, like of goblin culture or something like that.
Serpent Spine is free colonizable real estate, and any province that you don't take for yourself will inevitably be taken by an enemy. Forgive me, Lord, for what I have to do. For some reason, dwarves uncolonized are unreasonable forces of nature who will revolt for no reason at all. So the solution is to station my entire army in the province just waiting for them to revolt. And they're still revolting regardless of the fact they'll be instantly cut down. I don't get it. I'm just taking their land and forcibly assimilating their once independent people into my monarchist state. Why do they keep revolting? I don't get it. But hey, the moment that colony completes, they are incapable of revolting and instantly accept your culture and religion. We need to colonize our way out of the corner that is Giant's Anvil. For there is a prize south that must be reclaimed, and it's a great one. The once great dwarven capital of Almadir, now occupied by orcs. But until then, we slowly colonize our way and improve our technology and state. While we wait, we gain access to another overpowered mechanic of the dwarves, expeditions. That cannot physically harm a Serpent Spine dweller because they can just go on a single expedition and repay decades of debt. Oh yeah, and it also gives you mana points too, why not? Anyways, after many boring years of slowly colonizing our tendrils towards them, we can finally declare war on Shattered Crown. The orcs have been technology mod tendrils towards them. We can finally declare war on Shattered Crown.
I know these are goblins, not orcs. Shattered Crown sucks, so I had So hard, goblins beat
The
them.
orcs have been technology mogged so hard, this war is a breeze. We have artillery, and they are still using slingshots. The results speak for themselves. With the once mighty capital of Almadir reclaimed, we can finally reclaim the ancient kingdom of Almadir. Our government becomes this weird parliamentary monarchy that's just a little...
I wish it showed the date, so I know how far in the game they are.
We colonize and
1534? Wait, what?
Conquer
Okay,
our way through the monsters of the Serpent Spine until we finally find more of our dwarven brethren. Our cities are the most developed in the world, and the money just won't stop flowing in. We have reached the point in EU4 where we're just too strong for the AI to ever put up a real challenge again. But that's lame. I don't want to just bully goblins and orcs for the rest of the game. Also, during this age, the Horde curse happened, so I started a nuke. We start as the Order.
Yeah, the Horde curse is a pain. If you do the Horde curse without the guide, I'm almost certain you're going to fail unless you're like a 10,000 hour EU4 player. Like, genuinely a very, very, very difficult or even unfair event. I wish they'd make it less annoying, but I also get why it's there, because the dwarves are very strong.
The Iron Scepter, a remnant adventuring band from the once great human empire of Castanor. What happened to Castanor? Well, an evil sorcerer by the name of Nichmer changed Castanor from a prosperous medieval human society into a bunch of undead skeletons in perpetual slavery to the Lich King. It seemed the world was destined to be just another subject.
Oh, there you go. There is slavery, what's called.
Until the elves got involved and helped turn the tide against Nichmer. After centuries of warfare and devastation, Castanor turned into this. Why do I tell you this? No reason. Anyways,
also
Castanor turned into this. Why do I tell you this?
I mean, what?
No reason.
I don't know what this joke is. I'm not sure if I want to know. I think also in addition to that, I'm pretty sure, like, you know, this is... Actually, is it purely because of that? Because I remember the Age of Greenside is basically like, this age is named after like a lot of the orcs and goblins and whatnot after destroying the Dwarven Empire. They begin leaving the mountains and like set up in the ruined area of Casanor. I'm not sure if their, you know, the destruction of the Dwarven Empire is related to this.
Anyways, we start off as a adventuring band in the fragments of Castanor, conquering land from the native orcs and goblins. We're still an adventuring company, so we have to reform to a proper medieval state. We do this by just waiting for government reform progress. Anyway, now with the progress bar filled up, we can now start settling our land and screaming internally as every other... Now with the progress...
Is this like a different feature? I do not know this feature. I am not familiar with this feature. Interesting.
Bar filled up.
Is that new?
We can now start settling our land and screaming internally as every other adventuring company steals our land. Don't worry, we'll get our revenge one day. The once empty Castanor has filled in with dwarves, adventuring companies, as orc cells do be seething over human chads. With Admin Tech 7, we can finally abandon
they say it's filled with dwarves.
Our migratory ways and establish the kingdom of Esthil. With the new kingdom comes a new ruler, Verena, a god tier 535 ruler. But being almost perfect isn't good.
Sorry for blundering away into fancy Vietnam.
No, for her. She needs what every girl boss needs. A horde of undead skeletons willing to crush her enemies into submission. So we replace our once gallant human knights with undead abominations. Why?
Yeah, okay, let me see if I can...
So we replace our once
pause
gallant...
that. I need to also go wash my hands because I just ate food.
Human knights.
I pause. Alright, there you go. Human military will be... So if they click this... they'll replace the human military. And instead get Army of the Dead, which has different stats for the military. I thought it also made the military weaker, but from what I can tell, okay, it actually makes it stronger, much more cheaper, weak artillery, a lot more attrition for enemies. Is it just insanely good? Low attrition as well.
Undead abominations.
But isn't that good? Maybe it might be much better than I remember.
Don't complain about being taxed. The Undead Army is the best and worst army in the game. In battle, they might as well be made of paper. But their strength doesn't come in their battle prowess, but by sheer number. Our manpower is essentially infinite and costs us nothing. Oh yeah, and also, so when you kill your enemies, you get their corpses as manpower. No one dares join a coalition against us due to the size of our undead armies. Conquest from now on is an unfair stomping match. But military
Yeah.
supremacy over Castanor isn't enough for Verena. What she truly needs is functional immortality. So Verena embarks on a heist for the secrets of necromancy from the vault. While that's happening, we save up our mana points to begin the rituals of lichdom. The path of lichdom is best summarized as essentially a dice roll you can control with your preparations. Did you go into years of loans and rip out the hearts of innocence? Your odds of surviving the ritual goes up. At worst, you have a 50-50 chance of succeeding or dying.
Wait, what does it say?
The ritual goes up. At worst, you have a 50-50 chance of success.
Tip, after you start Lichdom, you can't save scum to retry for free. You can't save scum to retry for free. Like, what do they mean? Like, do they mean after you start doing the process of becoming a lich, or something else?
Anyways, with immortality and the secrets of the vault, Verena turns into an almost perfect 646 ruler. We have the strongest armies, a perfect leader.
Also, I'm pretty sure that you can improve the stats as well with magic of your ruler.
And a whole lot of land to reclaim.
Yeah, there you go. Wait,
ruler.
see?
We have the strongest armies, a perfect...
I use transmutation magic to give a perfect stats. Yeah, there you go. Like, as I said, you can do... Magic is very, very powerful.
Leader and a whole lot of land to reclaim. The results speak for themselves.
Incredible.
Now, with the entirety of Castanor as my willing subjects,
From the
I can
black
restore
domain.
Nishmer's black dements of old. And if you don't like it, well, your corpse is going to be quite useful in my army. I am the most powerful nation on Earth, and nothing short of a global coalition
Actually, what are those?
Quite useful in my army. I am the most powerful...
Black domain version gives siege ability plus 20%, shock damage received minus 20%, moral armies plus 15%. Those are really, really strong.
powerful nation on Earth, and nothing short of a global coalition
That makes that like a paper army into
can stop
something
my
not
undead
paper.
hordes from conquering the world. And that is how I saved Talon from ideas of freedom with the power of necromancy. Final thoughts. If you're bored of normal EU4 and want a
What was
fresh new
that?
setting, give necromancy.
What was that?
Final thought.
What is this?
If you're bored of normal EU4 and want a fresh new setting, give Anbanar a try as soon as possible. The new mechanics take a bit of time to get used to, but when you understand it, it's a lot of fun. To anyone who doesn't know EU4 and wants to play Anbanar, good luck.
Yeah, get familiar with
It's
EU4
going to take
before
you
you try
hundreds
and
of
ban.
hours to understand the game and thousands to master it, but thankfully for you though, it only takes 2 seconds to uninstall.
21, 21, 21, 21.
I always wonder where people find these videos, like find this type of B-roll.
Out of 23, it's very good. Pick up a copy from your local GameStop and give it a try.
Incredible video. Be sure to watch the video that I linked in the comments, whatever, in the chat. To support Kiernixis for making this art. I should have pinged Sachita when we start watching this. Rip. Okay. Right. Now we need a shorter video. To watch. I think the himbo also goes live soon, like in either in 50 minutes or 1 hour and 15 minutes. I'm sure you guys will let me know, whichever it is. Give me just a second, because I need to wash my hands real quick. So I would like to put on a very short, very short video while I am AFK. 1 hour and 12 minutes. Alright, cheers. Thank you. Way too cold. Okay, what is this? Alright, quick Nigel Marmalade video while I go wash my hand. Turn up sound a little bit.
It is my fate to float, to fall, to die.
Did you say Underworld Video Shop?
We hope you enjoy your demonic entertainment from the Underworld Video Shop. But remember to return your spicy NetherRealm tapes on time. Because if they're returned even 1 minute late, you will be turned inside out. Wing, wing.
Nice.
I think you're cutting it a bit close.
Times has changed Europe not to, yeah.
Envelop us all soon.
Okay, what does that mean? Quickly, blow into your fluff canopy.
I barely have the lung capacity to conjure this whisper from my chlorophyll lips.
Oh.
Look at my bulging breath bags. Never have I felt so much air in my tiny stock bubble. Oh.
Incredible.
Oh man, I had my heart set on seeing someone turned inside out to die.
Well, I certainly have a new lease on life. With these monstrous chest balloons, I can float forever and never die. Big breath time.
Oh.
Yay!
My
Beautiful art. Okay. What do we want to do now? I feel like I've covered enough, like, very political stuff. Politically depressed, the truth about tankies, this is not the left, and... okay. That sounds like something I don't want to watch, because I'm sure that sounds like it's going to be weird. Okay, let me just think. We could play a video game. Could play some Enlisted. I don't really feel like playing Enlisted right now. What do I feel like playing? EU4 maybe? Could continue our Anbenar game in EU4. That is an option. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? What should we do? What should we do? What should we do? We could put on a video while we think about what we can do. Maybe this one. Flawed aesthetics of solar punk. Yeah, let's do that. That sounds fun. Put this here. Pin the video. Be sure to support the video. Support the Fisher. Watch it on the side. They're very cool armbar.
And with that, we
leftist
also have to
armchair.
Humans have a need to put everything into categories. And with that, we also have to group media, aesthetics, and vibes into boxes that roughly make sense, no matter how incoherent those similar pieces of media might be. Speaking of categories, the suffix punk originates from the mid-1970s as the punk movement developed. This was in part as a reaction to mainstream trends at the time, the development of music such as metal, and also opposing other subcultures like the hippie movement. Punk as a suffix first saw use in the word cyberpunk, in a short story literally named Cyberpunk by Bruce Bethke in 1983. And from there on, punk would be continuously used as a suffix to describe many genres of media, including steampunk, diesel punk, atom punk, and finally solar punk. Before we dive into why solar punk is problematic, let me show you my setup. Earlier this year, I moved into a new apartment, and finally I had my own dedicated space for an office that didn't involve having my computer set up in the same room as my bedroom or living room. But that also made me painfully aware of how haphazardly I had my desktop set up and how badly I needed a desk upgrade. Luckily, FlexiSpot came to the rescue and offered help to fix that. FlexiSpot sent over their E7 Plus standing desk, which is way better stability-wise than my old IKEA table, and it can also work both in sitting and standing configuration. Weight is not an issue either, as it can easily handle my dual monitor setup and the desk can easily lift up to 540 pounds. So unless you have a rack of some of the biggest CRT monitors in existence, I don't think you'll ever stress the lifting motors. Along with the E7 desk, they also sent over the C7M chair, which was sorely needed as I finally had a chair with proper lumbar support for my frame. My old chair was clearly too short.
Okay, how long is this at?
Absolutely not
Okay,
a
it's
problem
almost
for
done.
the C7M. Easy to find comfort
Almost
since
done.
the C7 also has adjustable armrests, headrests, and locking tilt
Cat.
controls.
That's a big cat.
FlexiSpot has a 30-day return-free policy and has
Whoa.
10 to 15-year warranties on their products. Check out their
Wait,
website below.
What, 10 to 15 years?
And has 10 to 15-year warranties on their products.
Okay,
Check
I mean,
out their
that's-
website below and use this code for $50
That's quite good,
off.
fair enough.
Anyway, back to the video. Solarpunk can best be described as a genre that defines itself by defying the normal dystopian future worlds with a more positive, healthier, and prosperous future, which is enabled by green technologies and a shift from how resources are allocated, which also involves...
It's pure ideology, you know, this ecological bullshit.
In other words, Solarpunk is basically the millennial optimism of the 2010s mixed with green and renewable aesthetics.
Green Party. This is the world the Green Party say they're gonna build by just reining in capitalism just a little bit.
Generally, the genre takes very hopeful and colorful settings as Ghibli franchises like Castle in the Sky and Nausicaa to games like Terra Nil and City Skylines Green Cities to that goddamn yogurt commercial. We will talk about that later. All of these examples are mostly used for their aesthetics and less for their specific depictions of how we get to this future in the first place. And that's where the problems begin. You see, it doesn't matter how many 4-hour leftist video essays you write, upload.
I prefer the color red over green to pitch. I mean, I mean, I think I prefer green, and red is nice, but I don't think you'd prefer, like, everything being covered in red, like, versus it being covered in green. I feel like that would look a little bit...
It doesn't matter how many 4-hour leftist video essays you write, upload, and watch about how...
Incredible. Capitalism Bad, Part 69, by Definitely Not Shown. Maybe just a Sky LMAO. Do you... I still... Like, the sky being somewhat red does look beautiful at times, but if everything is, like, red, I don't think you'd enjoy that either, because that shit just looks very apocalyptic. Like, there's a video, I think, out of Australia that came out that went viral recently, like a couple days ago. That's just like... I don't remember what caused it, but basically it looks very, 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 it's very scary. It looks apocalyptic. Hey, you're back. Yes, I'm back. Hello, Machine Gun Kitty. I hope you're doing well. You're currently watching the flawed aesthetics of Solarpunk.
Solarpunk?
And while I'm thinking about which game we're gonna play, probably while watching some other stuff.
Is good at
Alright, let's see. Slob React video, Mr. Breast. Slob Urbanist video, just spikes. Sloppy streaming fails us.
Capitalism, bro. The core of the issue is that the majority of the viewers have no idea what technologies, how to implement them, and what policies we need to build a sustainable green future. So even if capitalism is defeated and you get some luxury gay space communism future, you'll still be stuck with a group of people that fundamentally will not be able to accomplish their goals because they will be focused entirely on aesthetics and
Holy shit, plant solar panels, socialism. Depiction of resource management, sustainable infrastructure, and solar panels garbage.
prioritizing form over function. I'll yell about this specific point more later.
That makes sense. It is like...
Unfortunately, like many of the
kind of like also just an issue with a lot of like liberal... Oh, hello, Zenodo. Is also just an issue with a lot of like... In general, like with liberal ideology in general. Like, he might like just go into this and see that this is basically liberal ideology in a solar punk version or whatever. Like in a punk version. Because like... You know, before I became a leftist, I was just like, yeah, we just need to reform and like just vote our way into making society better, etc. And then, you know, like as I've learned more, I realized, wait, that's not really an option. Like we can't actually reach that under capitalism, because capitalists will never allow that to happen. They will never allow you to vote your way towards a better society, because that would hurt their profits. Like basically, the liberalism is predicated on, like, it relies on people not really being knowledgeable about how the world works in reality, especially because a lot of things have been kind of buried by capitalism. That's why racism, for example, and sexism, for example, heavily benefits capitalism and capitalists, because it distracts away from the fight against them, and like it adds another layer onto that. And I'm saying it this way specifically because some leftists, or supposed leftists, are like, no war but class war, etc., like completely ignoring that there's also, like, you know, this fight against racism and sexism and all that stuff. And these are combined. Like these, like, sure, capitalism may have bred these and like supported these things becoming a thing. But if we don't remove patriarchy, and if we don't remove racism, or like heavily combat it to the point of where it nearly doesn't exist, then we also cannot build a lasting future without capitalism. As long as we have these insanely unfair systems, arbitrarily unfair systems, then like you cannot defeat capitalism. Class reductionist cuff, exactly.
Punks, too many people focus on the pure aesthetics of the genre and not how those worlds actually exist and operate. Granted, many of these genres like diesel and steampunk are mostly pure fantasy and usually were never supposed to be worlds rooted in reality. But that's where solar punk is different. Majority of the time, it's using real or close to real technologies and concepts to build a better, more sustainable future. So it's easily the best one to critique because there are so many people out there that construct their hope and worldview around an optimistic future like
basically every Green Party in Europe. I feel like they're like this sort of the personification of thinking that, like seeing something like solar punk and thinking, yeah, we're gonna vote our way to get that. We're gonna vote our way to that. It's very like progressive, liberal, hippie bullshit. I'm sure they're well-meaning, but you know, like I'm sure most of the voters, at least most of the regular people, they are well-meaning, but you can't just reach this. Like you're putting, what does he say? Like you're putting the cart before the horse. You're not really thinking about how to get there. You're not thinking properly about it.
those depicted in a cyberpunk reality. And with that, we have to talk about solar punk's main failure, focusing too much on green infrastructure and not the gray infrastructure that's going to save us. Okay, let's take a look at the vibes of the yogurt commercial. One of the most frustrating aspects of solarpunk is the focus on rural or suburban lifestyles. Solarpunk also makes people assume that the solution to living a more eco-conscious lifestyle just involves putting solar panels on their house and planting more trees. And declining media literacy doesn't help the average person in America see themselves not as the main character in the world. And they couldn't possibly be bothered with a change in their lifestyle for the sake of others. This thinking, and solarpunk's focus on greenery, can generate misguided assumptions about how we should solve climate change and other environmental issues. Solarpunk is essentially implanting what we refer to as green urbanism, in contrast to gray urbanism. And don't be fooled, green urbanism isn't necessarily a positive thing. Green urbanism lines largely up with the aesthetics of solarpunk. Plant trees, replace gas cars with electric cars, techno-innovate your way out of problems, assume future technology will fix problems, and largely focus on aesthetics over policies, which is frustrating.
And again, this is not to say like that we can't innovate our way out of like becoming better at like solving some of these issues we get with our society and the way our society is built and whatnot, like a reliance on fossil fuels, etc. But the point is more that you can't just fix it just like that. Like you shouldn't just go, we will invent our way out of this, especially under capitalism, which does not have the incentive to fix things as much as it just has the incentive to generate profits for those who are highest up on the, capitalist food chain.
Because the average person largely agrees with these facets and thinks that many of these aspects do help with solving environmental issues. Which, yes, switching from a gas car to an electric car can help, but good job. You have changed one small thing in the chain of car dependency. Now we have to fix the automotive production process, the disposal of vehicles, tire shavings causing microplastics, road pollution, highway and city heat island effects from asphalt, urban sprawl, utility sprawl, inefficient housing from sprawl, and generally how disconnected society.
I do hope that this video does go into like how like more realistic ways of achieving a good future, not necessarily a solar punk future, but like just a good future, because that's something in general that's important to mention when you do this sort of like a society critique, which I would count this as, even though it talks about solar punk, it also talks about the critique of society, because otherwise you will just kind of be like, at least seem like someone who's just complaining. But I do imagine that Alan Fisher will go into something like that, and this is piece very competent from what I've seen.
Has become because of car isolation. I could go on, but I don't want to depress you too much. Anyway, green urbanism rarely touches these subjects and doesn't address fundamental issues. On the flip side, this is where gray urbanism excels in comparison. Gray urbanism is less about focusing on aesthetics and more about focusing on utility first. That city that's having problems with housing, gray urbanism pushes the idea that we should ignore most of the aesthetic NIMBY complaints and instead focus on building the damn housing and density first. Gray urbanism's focus is on fixing the fundamentals and caring about the small things later. And you're only going to do that with one.
I also just wanted to add, like, in case he doesn't get into this, and also because I just thought of it, 715, we'll go back to that. So something about them like Solarpunk depicting these rural environments where everyone has so much space to live around and be around. It just plays into this like nuclear family type thing of like, oh, everyone owns a house or whatever, like shit like that. At least when it focuses on this aspect, sure, that like it also showed some like what are these, like high density, like giant whatever this is, like a skyscraper thingies. But when it depicts things like, oh, everything is like it's just a huge rural world or whatever, it's just kind of like, I feel like it plays into like this nuclear family stuff where everyone owns their own house, and it's like, I don't know, I don't like that. I don't like things which promote individualism as a type of like, as the main and only good thing. Like, of course, people should be individuals, people should be allowed to do whatever, like, you know, within as long as they don't do bad shit. But I would say a major issue with Western society, which has been propagated by capitalism, is that everyone is focused, like, it's just like this focus on the individual rather than the focus on community and like collectivist like ideals, communal ideals. For example, I think that the world is much better if you in general just think of the people around you. You shouldn't just only think about them, like not in the sense of like, oh, what will people think of me? Though that is like a sort of, that is a social control thing which can be good. But ideally it should be like, I care about other people, I care about the people around me, I care about my society, I care about my community, like just people around me in general. I want people to be well, so like I will make some self-sacrifice here and there to ensure that. This is also something I would say is a huge issue among Western leftists, in the way they handle a lot of things, and kind of like very stubborn and refuse to like basically take the L now and then to try and like take the L now and then, which they should, because we kind of have to reach people where they're at in, you know, teaching them about shit. Like, sure, like in general, like when I say capitalism and shit, like, cause this is not my focus. My focus is not really to teach people from the ground up, like get people very indoctrinated into capitalist ideals. My focus is not to make them into leftists, right? My focus, I would say, is to be very loud and proud about being a Muslim socialist, whatever, Islamogushist, or whatever the fuck Macron fears. I want to show the world and Muslims that this is a better way, like this is what Islam is more about, this is the way Islam should go, this is the way Islam should be. I think that's kind of like I'm more and more settling into this kind of like my goal and role in like like one of my main things I want to do and propagate and talk about. But you know, people can focus on different things, and we do need people who, like Hassan, for example, who just takes a wide swath of people and just move them towards a general like leftist direction. For me, it was like moving from like semi-progressive to like all the way into like, you know, revolutionary socialist. And for others, like it's just going to be like, oh, let's say John Oliver, for example, who I would say maybe go from someone who's like, I guess like less progressive to someone who's a lot more progressive. Like there's like if you take someone from where they're at, if you reach people where they're at, you shouldn't expect to be able to like move, like hold their hand, be able to take them all the way into becoming a hardcore communist or whatever. And that's fine. We shouldn't expect that of others. Just that's why in general I would say that we should always focus on and support like people who move people towards the left, even if it's a little bit, even if it's not enough, because then other people will go in there, and you know, once they reach that, they're there with a bunch of other people who reach that point in life or like have learned that much and take them further, because it's a lot to deprogram from people and stuff.
Later, and you're only going to do that with one thing: construction.
I hope that wasn't too incoherent.
Solarpunk seems to be absolutely allergic to heavy industry, resource extraction, and construction, which are all things that will continue to exist as long as society keeps functioning without some radical degrowth scheme. Which, to be clear, degrowth is bad, but maybe that deserves its own video.
Ooh, that's interesting. I have actually talked about how I'm pro degrowth. I would love to hear what Alan Fish has to say about this, because my understanding of degrowth, at least the way I picture it, is that we have plenty of resources in society, and a lot of the growth we do is just a lot more focused on the benefit of the capitalists and whatnot, more profits for them. I think through like, you know, redistributing resources from insanely rich people to everyone else, especially, you know, the poorest across the world, that like you can do degrowth or whatever. You can at the very least like stop growing just straight up very harmful industries. Maybe that's not coherent. Maybe I should put more thought into that. I would very much like to see if he has a video on this.
Extraction and mining,
or when he puts up a video on this.
Specifically, will always be required if you want to live in a modern society with devices that you interact with daily. That also includes many technologies that...
I will say, like, because my belief is that in a society which doesn't put profits over everything, like, and actually just wants to... Like imagine a society where we actually want to help each other make things work long term. Like, what is it you call it when things are made in a way so you expect them to go bad sooner? What do you call it? Shit. The thing with like the fucking light bulb cartel and stuff. Deterioration, mandatory deterioration, planned obsolescence. Yeah. Fighting planned obsolescence and making things a lot more recyclable and or just longer lasting, which is impossible to do or very difficult, like just will not happen on a capitalist society. Doing that kind of thing should, in my mind at least, automatically lead to us not needing to grow our industries more, but rather scale them back. But then again, I probably haven't put enough thought into this. Who knows?
Solarpunk is based on, like solar panels.
Hello, Raph. How you doing?
Infrastructure, let's take a look at this image. If you search Solarpunk on Google Images, one of the first pictures to usually pop up is this picture. This picture is incredibly funny to me because the train in that picture is one of the metro lines that I grew up nearby and rode many times as a kid into now being an adult. That's Patco, or the metro line that serves the South Jersey suburbs into Philadelphia. And this picture is a Photoshop of the Collingswood Patco station, and this picture, in my opinion, shows off everything wrong with Solarpunk. Here is what the Collingswood Patco station actually looks like. Surrounded by a sea of cars, this station is bad land use near a metro line. And covering it with plants and putting a walking trail through those plants isn't going to solve this issue. What will actually make this a sustainable and green place is to build dense housing where the parking lots currently are, so that if someone wants to ride the electric train into the city, they can just walk to the station instead of dragging their 2-ton lard barge around the block just to walk to the station instead of dragging their 2-ton lard barge.
This isn't an AI manipulated image. It was rendered using my own graphics card because some of you are too dense to just listen to words and need images to look at, or else you get bored. Valid. I should do that.
Block just to get to the station. This feeds back into the gray urbanism concept. The real solutions to sustainability often don't look or feel green, but they are the lifestyle-altering changes that we need to make. And oftentimes this gets overridden by people that call themselves environmentalists.
Oh, also real quick, thank you for the follow, Kami Space Invader. I just realized, because you followed within the last, in between my previous stream and the current stream, so thank you for the follow.
So, let's talk about that.
Much appreciated.
Solarpunk is inherently
and I missed what he said.
But they are the lifestyle-altering changes that we need to make. And oftentimes this gets overridden by people that call themselves environmentalists. So, let's talk about that.
I will say a big thing that guides my how I view things differently from I think a lot of people, especially with the new effort to rebrand a lot of socialism into eco-socialism or whatever, is that because he mentioned the environmentalist thing, is that I don't really like it when people have this focus. Like, sure, I care about the environment, I care about making the world better, but if your focus is to oh, we need to make the world more green before, decolonialism and anti-imperialism and that kind of thing, that shit just pisses me off. I feel like this is something I should think more about before I speak more on it, but it's to me, it just feels like it's this aesthetic thing of when people go oh, it's so sad for the dog or whatever in X video about, I don't know, some shit somewhere, instead of focusing on the people who are suffering in the same area. To me, it just feels like a very fucked up thing. Obviously, I'm pro-environment, etc., but does that make sense? Does what I'm saying make sense, sort of? Because my thinking is just that people focus on the environment before they focus on people, and it's not that you can't do both, but in my opinion, the focus on people should always be first. Of course, still in mind that some people will spec into focus on being environment engineers and shit like that, which is fine. That's good. But I'm talking about in general and other people.
Environmentalists. So let's talk about that. Solarpunk is inherently a left-wing ideology, so any criticism to Solarpunk comes with criticism of leftist
Andrewism. I should watch some of the videos at some point.
Ideas and movements related to many of the issues that Solarpunk addresses. To finally get to the proper thesis of this video, we have to understand why and how leftists/progressives often counterintuitively drop unnecessary roadblocks in the path of their goals. To accomplish their goals, the progressive brain usually has two sides. One side argues that centralized authority will do nefarious things, so it should either be torn down or structured in a way so that it's hard for it to do bad things.
Andrew is one of the few anarchists I like. You should like him more, anarchists. I will say that I need to learn more about anarchism, but my impression so far is that a lot of anarchists are, and I don't know if anarchism, the ideology is like this, or if it's more varied, etc., but a lot of anarchists are very much against centralized power, which I think is just silly. I think centralized power is very important. It's important to have both centralized power and also local representation and that kind of stuff. Because communities should band together, people should band together communally and work together towards great goals, great things. Otherwise, they will, scattered. You're weaker. What is it? Like Caesar from Planet of the Apes or whatever. Stick alone weak, blood sticks together strong, or something like that.
This doesn't necessarily have to be a government structure per se, but generally this kind of thinking is what leads someone to blame the man, or likes to imagine themselves as David versus a Goliath. The other side of the progressive brain likes the concepts of making a large structure that's able to do great things and to do them efficiently. One clear example of this is the push for government universal healthcare here in America. Obviously a good thing and something that makes sense at scale. Where this gets confusing is with energy infrastructure, housing, and transportation. All three of these topics require a centralized planning structure, and for that structure to be very efficient with permitting and construction. Let's take building a new wind farm on a ridge near a town.
It's very important that you have central planning for this at a high level, which oversees a lot of areas at once, so that they can do things efficiently. At the same time, I think it's also important to, like have some good, very strong checks and balances and like local like ensure that they take local representation or whatever into mind, not in and that then, can be exploited and end up badly, like, NIMBYism and that kind of shit. But alternatively, we don't have that, and it's more like a, I don't know, great communist ultra Earth command is like, oh, we're gonna make a giant railway and stuff all across the globe, but oh, there's some very small indigenous or whatever communities in this area here and there. They don't want that. They've let us know this. We'll take that into mind and figure out something, a compromise or something on some other way, like ensure we don't disturb them. That's the ideal. And it's important for people to also remember that things can, like, you can have an ideal way of working things, and they can still go wrong, or they can go very well.
For example. The problem here is that the two sides of the leftist progressive brain are going to fight each other on this topic. The one side knows that green infrastructure like wind turbines are necessary to fight climate change, while the other side doesn't trust the government officials or the company that's building the wind turbines. And often will want to protect the environment that the wind farm is going to be built on because they don't trust the government to respect it. This leads the project getting hampered with page after page, form after form, environmental review after environmental review, to the point where construction hasn't even started yet, but 5 years has elapsed. 5 whole years where this town could have made the transition from burning coal to instead relying on clean wind power. But no, the environmentalists do not trust large power structures and instead continue to hurt the environment by delaying the wind farm project. Those environmental laws that were meant to protect nature are actively hurting it. Do you know what—
So I think this is a very good example of like a way where, people locally or people not involved can be like, oh, don't do this here, it's bad, etc. Like basically people stopping the progress of progress, right? An example of like sort of the flip side, I'd say, is in Norway, where the Norwegian government has repeatedly just not treated the indigenous Sami population well at all. And so in Sami land, they have, without their permission, against their wishes, constructed windmills on their land and like basically harmed their way of life and made it more difficult for them to do reindeer herding and stuff like that. I don't know a lot of the details, but the point is, traveling over their indigenous sovereignty, their rights and so on and so forth, which they have on paper. Literally, like it's illegal for them to do like some of these wind turbines, but they still did it. Like that's to me like kind of a flip side of this. And I'm sure it's not, and I'm pretty sure they would be able to build those wind turbines in another place or figured out something with the indigenous people, but they just did not, for reasons that I'm sure probably boils down to somewhere around like capitalism and racism.
What this sounds like?
Wait,
wind farm project. Those environmental laws that were meant to protect nature are actively hurting it. Do you know what this sounds like?
I know a place
Can you imagine a real place that sounds like this?
where the grass is really greener.
A place where there's so many laws that they actually hamper progress and construction? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It's California, baby.
Yeah. So I need to learn this. Actually, the first time I properly heard the Soviet anthem is probably when I played Call of Duty when I was a wee lad. and I just really liked the fucking, I think Spetsnaz or whatever intro music, because like when you played like team deathmatch on both, like there's a US team or whatever, and then there's a Spetsnaz team and they're fighting each other, it plays like some music at the start of the round, and I remember the Spetsnaz one being pretty cool.
The 1970s...
Or is it when they win? One or the other.
These were a weird decade. On one hand, you had some of the worst economic futures for the US, the most corrupt president, at the time, in the White House, and on the other hand, the hippie and progressive movements pushed for national and state powers to be expanded, especially when it came to environmental protections. These movements would eventually give us the federal EPA, and locally in California, they'd pass even stronger environmental laws called the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA. CEQA was passed in good faith. There are good reasons to be skeptical of large structures like big corporations and nefarious landowners. And relating back to solarpunk concepts, if you want a strong government to exist, which is implied with solarpunk generally being non-capitalistic, you probably need similar oversight. So why does this turn into a problem? Well, the same laws that you just passed to protect the environment and to allow citizens to fight back against these malevolent forces also can be used to block any change whatsoever, or at least heavily slow down the process of construction. This is a significant problem when we have to build transit, housing...
Just a moment. I might have I think I have D&D now, but I wasn't actually pinged about this, so I'm going to let the DM know that if we are still on in about 30 minutes, then I will join, which means I'll then end the stream in 30 minutes. Sorry, just a moment. I'm trying to do like what I think is a decent compromise. Alright, we are continuing. Sorry about that.
Is implied with solarpunk generally being non-capitalistic, you probably need similar oversight. So why does this turn into a problem? Well, the same laws that you just passed to protect the environment and to allow citizens to fight back against these malevolent forces also can be used to block any change whatsoever, or at least heavily slow down the process of construction. This
is often used by capitalists. I'm pretty sure, like, at least like a majority of the time, I would not be surprised if it's like more than 90% of the time used by big companies to just block these measures because they would reduce the profits in one way or another, either directly or like just be like, oh, like it would make it seem as if solar is working and like renewable energies are good and we don't want that. And that's also one of the reasons for why you cannot regulate. We cannot regulate our way into fixing the planet, right? Like, and that's also why I don't really care about as socialists who focus on the environment. Not that we should ruin it or anything. We should be careful of it, but I think it's the most important thing is to, you know, stop capitalism, is to end capitalism before anything. Because if you do not do that, if you do not consolidate your power into fighting capitalism, and you know all the allied institutions of capitalism, like patriarchy and racism and all that shit. If you do not focus your energy on defeating these things, then you cannot save the environment. Then you cannot, you know, do away with patriarchy and do away with racism and that kind of thing. You cannot save the world under capitalism because it's not profitable to do so. So it's important to focus the energy on fighting it. Not everyone has to do that, of course. Like people, like there's a lot of avenues in the fight for socialism against capitalism and so on and so forth. It's okay to focus on that, on your own aspects. But I want most people to focus on, you know, dismantling of capitalism before anything, and not, you know, kneecap themselves on the way towards that.
This is a significant problem when we have to build transit housing,
including, you know, use the tools that we have in our systems, in our unfair systems, to fight the system.
Renewable energy transmission lines, and high-speed rail. Solarpunk's aesthetic-heavy focus on greenery and vibes over substance gives us a great look into why these environmental laws are written in a way that damages long-term prospects. All you have to do is look at the average Californian or
I support capitalism if I like punishing myself. No.
Brain to see how a law
then you should just become Shia.
Like CEQA could be written in good faith, but cause damage in the long term. Recently, we've had another California moment with a lawmaker wanting to block the sale of used diesel passenger locomotives.
Speaking of, I recently read a really cool, or like, you know, listened through audiobook, a really cool book, and I'll talk a little bit about that after.
This had a lawmaker wanting to block the sale of used diesel passenger locomotives. This happened because of Caltrain's sale of equipment to Peru, where they're going to be used as equipment for service for a commuter rail line out of Lima. For various reasons, the PR from the sale was not all positive. So in good faith, State Senator Dave Corstese put a bill forward to block the sale of future diesel trains.
Why?
This kinda sucks. There are many places in the world that could use slightly used trains to increase or start new transit service.
That's such bullshit. Why would... Okay, I'm trying to think if it's like well-meaning people, so-called environmentalists being dipshits and idiots, or like I'm trying to figure out, is this initiative led by these people, environmentalists and whatnot, who are well-meaning but stupid, not thinking about the big picture, or is this an initiative by capitalists who don't want to, you know, all things to be sold because that's less profits in the long run?
Perfect donor example of a developing nation that's clogged with congestion as such is Nashville, Tennessee. Back to why this is related to Solarpunk, that state senator acted in good faith with what he thought would be good for the environment because an old diesel locomotive must be terrible for the environment. But instead, some city is going to miss out on some extra rolling stock and continue to suffer from car dependency. Definitely,
which is genuinely much, much worse.
Not a very green decision in my eyes. Like I said before, Solarpunk is more than just an aesthetic. It is a vision of an ideology that does not exist. It is the magical land of farts and rainbows that the average starry-eyed liberal imagines a perfect future is like. And unfortunately, that vision has the same performative problems that the left-leaning activists and environmentalists generate. Not only does Solarpunk usually overlook heavy industry, rail freight, efficient logistics, nuclear power, construction, and mining, aka the things that make you go, hell yeah, brother.
Yay, yay, brother! Yay, yay!
But Solarpunk also represents the legislative failures of American and generally left-leaning governments. Like, the average liberal has an idea of the correct things to do, but fails at envisioning how to execute those ideas in practice. Oftentimes their own...
I say this going back to that about liberals. Like, being well-meaning, but not actually understanding how things are functioning well enough for things to work. And if that sounds mean, I don't really give a shit. Like, it's just, like, if there's a better way of me saying this, tell me. I'm sorry if I offended you, but that's also how I see myself, how I used to be when I was, like, basically just a progressive, a liberal. Like, the way I see it is, like, you believe these things, you believe that things can be done in this way because you don't know, from my perspective, like, I would say you just don't know the reality enough.
Over legislation causes them to trip and stumble, leaving places like California to be the punching bag by right-wingers to push their agendas. And no, I am not saying that leftists and liberals are bad, therefore right-wingers are correct. No, conservative right-wing politicians are evil morons that will crash the economy because their ego is too fragile. What I am saying is that Solarpunk represents the failures of liberalism in the US, and those real-life failures can be weaponized by conservatives to convince the median voter that liberals are bad. Trump and those around him are the result of liberals creating a government system that barely gets anything done because legislation gets in the way of politicians, or politicians refuse to lead and take accountability for anything. And no, this is not just the US either. Just look at the German Green Party if you want incompetent.
Also, speaking of Green parties, damn, I really clocked some of the things you would conclude on. I'm proud of myself. Speaking of the German Green Party, it's like a very good example of why I don't trust Green parties and why I was especially like until recently like very skeptical about the British Green Party, which is like a lot more at the very least socialist friendly and actually seems really cool. The reason for why I was so skeptical was because my experience from Green parties in Europe is that usually they're just like kind of like just semi-progressive liberals who are just kind of like very shitty and racist in the end. Still like very awful. Like the leader of the German Green Party, I don't know if she is still the leader or not, but like 1 or 2 years ago she was like blah 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 blah, Islam's like poisoning the blood of Europe, something like that, which is fucking racist as shit.
See in another country with eco-friendly vibes. Just please don't notice all of those massive coal mines that are still open because those idiots closed their nuclear power plants. Meanwhile, their neighbor is making me into a Francophile.
That's horrible.
Solar
I do want to like learn more about like the fight against nuclear / for nuclear, etc. From what I can understand so far, it is that if you have nuclear plants, do not shut them down. But building more nuclear plants is not really worth it. Maybe research into them could be worth it, but building new ones is not really worth it in the long run versus just making other types of renewable energy. Though the one thing there that I'm concerned about is like, we don't really have good ways of preserving energy yet other than dams, which Norway does a lot of. But not every country can be like Norway. So a lot of renewable energy things have this issue of not, always working, like solar and wind, and that's where having stuff like nuclear plants could be quite useful. That's my understanding, at least, and I need to learn more about that.
And its aesthetics can ironically be described as missing the forest for the trees, aka don't get caught up in that shiny green bullshit and let's focus on the essentials instead. Build the train, build the wind farm, build the solar panels, build the nuclear power plant, but don't let environmental regulations slow all of that progress down. Anyway, no matter what...
Also, I'm gonna leave in about 25 minutes, because I have D&D.
This current circle jerk of Neanderthals in the White House does to my country...
And I think I would prefer streaming, but I did make a promise and stuff, so...
We will need to rebuild afterwards with a better
but maybe I'll stream again later, we'll see.
Government. And I know that...
And I need to go back in the video because I was not listening.
Bullshit, and let's focus on the essentials instead. Build the train, build the wind farm, build the solar panels, build the nuclear power plant, but don't let environmental regulations slow all of that progress down. Anyway, no matter what this current circle jerk of Neanderthals in the White House does to my country, we will need to rebuild afterwards with a better government. And I know that you, my audience, love to advocate for transit, cities, and rail. I want you to keep that up, no matter how bad things get, because when we come out on the other side, we will always need people like you to guide the way in your local community to show people that we can build a better world for them. And
here's the DSA, PSL, or whatever the fuck, I don't give a shit.
Thanks for watching.
Anyway,
if you'd like to join the discussion or talk about advocacy or something along those lines, you're welcome to join my Discord.
By
you're
Alan
welcome to
Fisher.
Follow me on my Instagram, my second channel, and check out the merch below too. Also, thank you to the sponsor for this video, FlexiSpot, and of course, thank you to my Patreons, who are the people that allow me to talk about these topics.
Am I still here?
I otherwise couldn't.
I think I'm not sure if I'm still Patreon.
If you want to support me, go check out the Patreon. I try to post more up.
Yeah, I am. There you go. Look, that's me. Yay.
Updates there, and I'm gonna try to be a little bit more consistent in the future with these videos because a pipe bursting in my apartment definitely didn't help. So let's get back on track.
Right. W video by Alan Fisher. Right, about 25 minutes. At least I want to end within that. So maybe we'll put on one more video or something else of that sort. And then move on. Alright, let's see. Every reason to hate the cast, long video, response of the city council's budget proposal.
Back in January, we explained how the budget process.
So I think the context for this is that basically the office that Mamdani inherited, like he inherited a shitload of debt on New York because of, like, you know, right-wing administrations and just like neoliberal bullshit, like you know, the previous mayors, right? Shit like that. And he basically came out recently about, like, oh yeah, we're in huge debt, by the way, and there's only two ways to solve this. Either we are allowed by the governor, like Hochul or whatever, to raise taxes on the rich, or we'll have to raise property taxes, which is the only thing we can do with the power we have. The only thing we legally have the power to do. Basically, which would be unpopular because that would then raise rent, and people would not like that. So very smartly setting this up to basically be like, so these are our options, and if your rent is increasing, it's because of the governor not allowing us to tax the rich, something like that.
Well, my friends, we're in the middle of it now. Council Speaker Julie Menon just released her budget proposal. Her plan claims to close the city's $5.4 billion fiscal gap without taxing the rich or cutting services. The problem is, that's not what it would do. If her proposal was adopted, it would result in slashing billions of dollars from agency budgets, and working New Yorkers would pay the price. It double counts savings, overestimates revenues, exaggerates savings on interest payments. And in the midst of this historic budget deficit, the Speaker's $6 billion proposal asks Albany for just one thing: more time to reduce class sizes. My position? Tax the rich. Make sure the wealthiest New Yorkers and most profitable corporations pay their fair share. End the drain. For a long time, the state has taken more from the city than the city's received in return. And I'm working with Albany to change that. Without it, our deficit won't disappear. It will repeat, year after year, asking future generations to shoulder the burden. We will solve this budget crisis, but I'm not going to let it come at your expense.
W. Like, this is great. This puts a pressure on the governor Hochul, who is kind of an awful person who I can understand. But it gives it, like, he's basically directing public pressure in that direction. This is great. And yes, I know taxing the rich is not the end all be all. Incremental change in general is not, like, something to be very wary of as a leftist, because you don't want, you know, incremental change to then end with people being so satisfied that they do not care about politics anymore. You do not want that, because then that will make people complacent and then allow capitalists to claw back their unfair privileges, right? We don't want that. However, a way to deal with this kind of thing, I'm not sure about what the best solution is yet, but I would say, like, that doing stuff like this, like taxing the rich, is in the direction that we want. You want to tax the rich a lot, ideally, and we should support this. And then in supporting this, we should explain that it's not the end all be all, and, like, it's totally okay to tax the rich, and we should do a lot more of that. Do not get complacent. That's something I would say this is where leftists should stand. Don't be like, oh, blah, 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 it's not enough. Don't just be, like, kind of a wanker. Don't be an annoying asshole about this. Be like, this is awesome, we support this. We should, everyone, like, show the leftists support this, show the leftists support this very overwhelmingly popular proposal and thing, and fight against propaganda against it. And then also, like, then you can, and you should add on to that, it's not the end all be all. Like, we shouldn't have billionaires, like, at all. We shouldn't have people be this rich at all. But taxing them is at least in the direction. And then say, like, oh, the actual goal is this and this, blah, 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 you know? Sorry, I burped. That's It's just something I needed to say, because a lot of people are very annoying about, especially Mamdani, and it's very, very obnoxious. That's my mayor. Yeah, Raf, we get it. Just fucking styling on us. I'm very jealous. If there's any place in America I'd actually feel like semi-safe at visiting, it would be New York at this point. Right. What is this? Tlatoani 1.0 release trailer. Paradox Arc? Paradox Arc? Is that like a new dev studio? What is this?
Will you shape history or be left behind? Cultivate the mess left behind. Will you shape history?
Mafia level 80.
Or be left behind.
Mafia level 1. Just reminded me of that.
Cultivate the Mesoamerican wilds and design your metropolis.
I like they said cultivate and not like tame or something else like that.
Plan
or develop.
carefully and cater to your citizens' needs to watch your empire thrive.
This is like Pharaoh, right?
Good sacrifices
like a modern version of that.
And your lands shall prosper. Sow disorder and risk their wrath.
I will say the graphics are not my favorite.
Build alliances with other city-states and conquer your enemies.
Ooh, that's warfare. I love warfare.
Borders and rise as the emperor of destiny. Become Tlatoani.
I wonder how, woke this is. Seems like a cool concept. Pharaoh is back. Yep, okay, I remembered correctly. Liberals and political alienization. That seems fun. Soviet Muslims and Hajj. I think that's not the Pharaoh. Yes, it's not the Pharaoh. There's a game called Pharaoh, and this is like this is like following that concept. You're very funny. Har har. Very, very funny. All right. Soviet Muslims and Hajj is a little bit of a long. It's not that long of a video, but I know that like Lady Easter is awesome, but her videos are a little bit slow. Let's have a. Should we have a look at it? No, I actually didn't get the reference. Oh, okay, my bad. Pharaoh, like, it's just referencing another game called Pharaoh, which is basically the same as that. So this is like a modern version of that. Okay. Do we have enough time to watch this? I'm going to be pausing a lot. I don't think so, actually. I should choose a much shorter video. Oops, wrong chat. Yeah, I was... is Shai even online right now? Shai isn't even online. What do you mean, wrong chat? Embarrassment intensifies. Well, I guess it would make sense if you did it in other chats. Okay, let's find a short video. Because, or we can also just go through some of the other things. Did we even do gaming today? I don't think we did. But if I come back on later, we definitely will. Also, everyone, remember to check out my video or like my posts and stuff on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok, or else. Watch our stream. Let's see. Yeah, okay, we'll just take it from the top. This one, 30-year-old woman house shares with 89-year-old man.
I'm Prativa. This is where I live. I have been living in this house with Mr. Latif for over a year and a half. Before that, I was living in an area called Moden, in a shared house.
So basically, like, it's a scheme thing where people can move in with old people to help them. Like, you do provide some elder care in exchange for, cheaper, better housing or whatever. And it's very cute and cool and stuff, but I just thought it's very funny, because this is basically just like This is just Western countries reinventing generational living. Yeah, it's great, it's awesome, but it's literally just reinventing generational living, which I just find to be a little bit funny, since, you know, capitalism has pushed this idea of a nuclear family and people moving out ASAP, and it's now gone all the way back to, like, it's kind of like done a full circle. Like, we're back to, oh, maybe we should do generational living, that would be cool. Like, it's just, that's a little bit funny and amusing. Did I not make a comment here? Where's my comment at? I did a comment. Is it removed? Is it gone? Is it just like, can I just like not see my comments when I put them in the videos and shit? Like can I just not see my comments when I open it on like on PC? I mean, we don't have enough. Why people call us Eastern generational living? Exactly. I mean, I will say this is not, you know, it isn't colonizing, but it's funny.
I did come across this.
I mean, we don't have enough room. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, the thing is, like, I feel like we could. I feel like you know, and also we don't have enough nurses. Yeah, we do not. It's just like, we could have these things, but it's just not really much of a thing on capitalism. And in general, I'm just a very pro, like, I'm not much for generational living myself, personally. But I think it's a virtue. I think it's a good thing if people are pro that. I think it is very cool and very nice and just very, like, overall beneficial for everyone to have multi-generational living.
What the agency expects from you to do for that elderly person is that you give them about 15 hours of help a week. It allows us to pay £150 a month, and we pay that directly to the agency.
After the stroke, I forget everything. I can't write properly. She was so good. I mean, from day
okay, that's
one.
Wait, look at how sick that, what do you call it, that cloth is.
She was so good.
That's so cool.
I mean, from day one, she was...
Day one.
Really good.
We love watching football together a lot.
Again, this is very cute, but also like,
he's like
just very funny that we are reinventing generational living. Okay, this one we've already seen. What else? There's like, I need to look into the EEB, like I think the European Environmental Bureau or something. Yeah. And like what their politics are and what they actually are. We're an environmental NGO. I need to look into what they're about, because like they've been posting some pretty cool stuff recently. Let's see, European Environmental Bureau, the EEB. I want to read more about them at some point. Maybe we'll do that, a stream dedicated to that. Because they've just been posting bangers like this now and then. It's gonna trickle down, bro, promise. You gotta trust me, bro. They just need a little more profit. She got hit by a bazooka. Somebody hit the hookah. Like, they've just been posting so many of these bangers. And I'm like thinking about, okay, so it's an environmental agency. They're usually liberals, but like, are they better than that now? Or are they just like cashing in to something like it? Like, are they being, like, basically, are they being the coolest of social democrats? Like, are they just genuinely that? Or are they actually, you know, leftists? It's just something I want to look into. And like the story and stuff like that. Does debate how imperialism pokes Africa. I do want to check that out, but just not quite now. Alright, let's have a look at this one. This one is fun. Visiting my daughter in Utah, hated it. This one is great. Oh, we need music. My granddaughter Kaylee High. She told me that she cut her hair herself in the bathroom with the lights off. This music is very loud. All the houses in my daughter's neighborhood give off boiled chicken energy. Even hers, not gonna lie. My grandson Hunter, he recently converted to Mormonism even though we're atheists. I blame my daughter. Now he won't stop harassing random people about his faith. My grandson also wanted me to try a Hawaiian haystack. There's nothing Hawaiian about this unedible pile of slop. I will personally apologize to every native Hawaiian for the existence of this awful dish. I just want to share this with you guys because I just find this is... Don't understand the hype, but I guess soda is amazing if you're a Mormon and willingly cut any interesting drink out of your life. At Swig. During my last day there, I came across some people who I thought were Amish. My daughter tells me they're a part of a cult. Anyway, they asked me to join them on the trampoline, but unfortunately I injured my back while cracking a woman I met at the local Swig the day before. Iconic. Welcome to Utah, life elevated. As a Californian, my life was not elevated after visiting. I don't know if it's real. I want to believe it's real. It's just funny and cute. Okay? This is just, I wanted to share this with you guys. Oh shit. Do you guys think when like we become like a bigger channel or whatever, that people will go like, why are you enjoying this? This is not furthering the fight against capitalism. Do you think that will happen? Maybe. I shouldn't think about it like that way. That's very negative thinking, but you know. Alright, one more and then we'll rate someone. I think this is like, I saved this because it's like unhinged sister doing something crazy, and I love supporting our unhinged siblings. I don't know why, but like I'm just especially happy when I see hijabis just, you know, have fun, because I feel like they're just under so much fucking sexist attack by a bunch of dipshits, whether it's from within the Ummah or outside the Ummah. Anyways, the title says, throwing a gender reveal surprise in my car because I realized I have free will. I'm not even pregnant.
I decided to throw my own gender reveal party in my own car by myself. I'm so excited. I'm so nervous. This is how he looks. Girl or boy? Oh my god. I am so nervous. I don't think anyone understands. Let me just position myself properly because my heart, like it's doing its own beatbox. I just feel breathless right now because I'm just so nervous. I really pray. I pray it's a girl. I'm not pregnant, by the way. I just thought we exercise my free will.
Inshallah.
Okay, bismillah.
It's a girl.
Before we do anything and we figure out what is in here, I just want to say I really hope you're a girl. I really, really, really pray that you
Inshallah.
are. I really think in a world full of men, they're not really good enough. So I hope you're a girl.
True.
So
Truth
I was
nuke.
actually confused initially when I said to her, you do whatever you want, put down any colour you want. And she looked at me up and down, and I genuinely thought she thought I was mentally ill. Same time, we listen and we don't judge. I actually woke
We
up
listen, we don't
and I
judge.
thought how
True.
it would feel to have a baby girl, and that's what I'm trying to find out right now. Because I genuinely do not know what's in here. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but let's find out. Let's get to it.
I don't think I've finished watching this video.
Okay. Bismillah. Where should I start? You guys can see it, right?
Why is she so out of breath?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I think it's a girl. See if there's any more just to confirm. It's a girl. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. God is good. God is great. Alhamdulillah.
Allahu Akbar.
It's a girl. Oh, we're going to be talking about a lot of things you don't understand. Okay, guys.
I love our sisters. They're amazing. W, women's rights and women's wrongs. This is definitely a women's right, of course. It's just incredible. It's awesome. W, it's nice to see people having fun. That makes me happy, you know? It just makes me happy. Anyways, I think it's around here we shall end it. So give me just a moment and we'll find someone to raid. Please stick around for the raid, everyone. Support me in supporting others. And also becoming friends with them. Just give me a moment. Let me just pull up the stuff. Just a moment, everyone. If I am back online later, I will let you know. Be sure to join the Discord if you haven't already. Be sure to follow if you haven't already. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching. We will raid. Yeah, let us raid Sakura, who is playing Resident Evil Requiem. So everyone, the raid messages are these ones, and I think that they should work for everyone who is following. That's the raid message. Now go forth, have fun, and take care. Be good ambassadors of the Shimling community, or something of that sort. I'll see you guys either later or tomorrow, inshallah. Again, thank you everyone for watching, I shall see you again soon. Assalamu alaikum.